why did I even set up the academy? It's because I really wanted a place that I can control 100%, and I can make sure that fundamentals, people that started with the sport, they start with it the right way, the perfect way. For me, the one main thing is being able to give people a sustainable option, a sustainable journey.
Hello and welcome. Today I am here with Salem. Salem is a professor in the Matador Jiu Jitsu Academy in Dubai, black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he is my professor as well. And he has very interesting story, very interesting experiences with leading his own academy and generally kind of drifting and pushing people in the right direction regarding fitness, but also competitive sport. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How is fitness related? How is specific fitness preparation related and important for anybody who is aspiring athlete for their specific discipline?
Exactly.
And everything around it. Salem, just tell me how you started with the sport. And by the way, we are in the academy right now,
yes.
Yeah, which is new to me as well.
Well, there's a lot to unravel here. I mean, in terms of my opinions about the sport and my opinions about people's outlook on the sport, I started out like basically every average guy growing up in Dubai. I mean, we weren't that fit. We were playing football like everybody else, and soccer to the American audience. But the thing is, with me, I got into I had a horseback riding, equestrian background before getting into anything fitness, and then I transitioned into working out a little bit in the gym. The goal was having a six-pack before high school graduation. I remember that very strongly. So
specifically, six-pack before graduation. When you were doing horse riding, how long have you been doing it for?
From 7th grade up until 12th grade. So that's 5 years.
5 years. Wow.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I owned my own horse. I was all about, like, if now you see me in my identity towards jiu-jitsu, it was the same thing towards horseback riding and the equestrian life and show jumping and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I also had one girl who is a pro volleyball player, and she started like it's called bulletproof performance. She started this kind of movement where she's preparing pro volleyball players for their careers and basically giving them the right strength and conditioning program. And her background was also horse riding, which I had no idea. The same thing is here now. It's like there's way more people than I would ever expect riding horses.
Yep. There's a few types of horseback riding. There's the basically the endurance horse riding, which is like I'm not so sure. I remember like it was around 100 kilometers. They get to checkpoints. They check the horses, and there's a show jumping, and then there's the typical racing that we see, the multi-billion-dollar industry.
Like the sprints, yeah.
The
betting one.
Yes,
yeah.
The betting one. And but the thing is, after that, for me personally, it didn't fit me. It was a lot of expenses. You pay for the horse and pay with everything that was related to the horse, and it didn't really fit me at 14, 15 years old. And then I transitioned to working out in the gym, just simple working out. I got myself a trainer at 17 years old, or 16, 17 years old. And like I said, the goal was to get us get a six-pack before high school graduation.
You have this story you told me before that you came to a guy who was looking certain way.
Oh yes, in the locker room. Yes, I was about to get to that.
Yeah, that sounds weird. That sounds
a little bit weird. I know, but it was a jacked guy, super ripped. I remember, and back in the day, it was just a genuine curiosity. I didn't know anything about this, so I just walked up to the guy. I was like, honest question, how did you become like this? Simple as that. And
Very straightforward.
yeah, very straightforward. And the guy was honestly, I'm always thankful for the guy because he always just told me, look, get yourself a personal trainer for a year, get him to teach you all the ins and the outs so you can actually take care of yourself. I was like, okay. So I got myself a personal trainer. We did some workouts, and then we eventually transitioned slowly towards. I remember seeing one guy doing capoeira in one of those like empty studios in the gym. Like if you sometimes they have some drills there. Sometimes they have dance classes or combat classes. Those types.
Just this universal use room.
Yeah. Yes, and I would see this guy by himself doing the capoeira moves, stepping back and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, what is this? Jackie Chan stuff? So I'm like, and I would ask him too, what the hell is this you're doing? And he was like, this is a Brazilian martial art. This is, they masked it with the dance technique. So the other tribes or something, that they wouldn't prosecute them because they were banned from fighting back in the day. Some background information about capoeira.
This is actually it's pretty common in history of many martial arts that they were
banned.
Now I don't want to mess this up, but I believe when Japan was occupying Philippines, at some point they banned all martial arts.
Interesting.
And that the dances and the ritual dances in the tribes were a way to preserve the moves, but it didn't look like it's fighting, but it was. You have that in karate, right? The kata.
Yes.
When you have just the drill perform movement, you have to show, right? Yes. That's the same thing. It's just a way how to kind of degree by degree remember the drills.
Nice.
Exactly. So I'm not surprised. Exactly. Like we will mask it like it's a dance, right? But
and that was that's the thing. It got my curiosity. I was like, oh wow, okay. And then I saw someone else working with the pads with boxing.
Was this guy Brazilian as well?
Yes, Brazilian Canadian. I remember, and it was a long time ago. We're talking about 2007, 2008. So it's been a while. So, but then I started working with pads, and then I went to a gym where there were just Russians, and I remember looking up gyms, and I was like looking up different sports because ever since I switched from horseback riding, this was my identity. Like my identity, my life was in the horseback riding club, the equestrian club. So for me, I kind of felt a void. I remember feeling that void, and I was looking for sports. I was looking for something to belong to, a sport to belong to, a sport that I can progress in. I don't know why. As a young kid, that was one thing because riding horses and show jumping, there were degrees. There was the D class, there was a C class, there was a B and A, and all of that in show jumping. So all of that depends on how high your jumps are and how complicated the course would be, and it's a different world because you don't want you want to clear that course with no poles falling down and all of that kind of stuff, and that's penalties, and you want to win that competitive advantage. That type of thing, I felt the void ever since I kind of stopped the equestrian life. So I was like, and I was still a little bit curious about the martial arts and fighting type of sports, and then in my freshman year was in the American University in Dubai before I went to the States. I remember Saud, our friend. He tells me about one guy, I think Kazakh guy or Uzbek guy, I'm not so sure. And this guy, I remember he was like, look, bro, this guy won the Asian championship in Muay Thai or something. And again, this is my habit. I see the interesting guy, I hear about him, I approach him. So I was like, hey. And I remember it was right after one of the prayers, and I ran into him as we were both leaving prayers. So it's a perfect opportunity. I was like, question. One of my friends told me you're a champion in Muay Thai. Is that true? It's just honest questions. And he was like, yeah, but I used to compete just to prove to myself I can do it, but I still just train. I don't compete. I don't have no interest in it. It was just to prove to myself that concept that I can do it. I was like, but why? Why don't you compete? You're a champion. You could be a champion for years. And like, as you know, I'm 17, 18 years old at this time, and I'm like, why wouldn't you keep competing and keep being the champion? That does not make sense to me. He was like, look, in our culture, a man is supposed to be able to defend his family. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. And Muay Thai for me was to make sure that I have those skills that I need to defend my family. Okay. For me,
seems like a valid reason.
Yes. And for me, that was just an eye-opening moment. And I'm like, wow. Okay.
When you said that he said in his culture, you mean like this? He was Kazakh.
I think it was Kazakh, Uzbek. It was one of those cultures.
Wild cultures.
Yes, and it's deep within their culture fighting, and like the Chechens, the Tajikistanis, and all of these people, and so that stayed with me. So I went. I remember looking up Muay Thai places, and I found the in Bermatha Club, which is right across the street from us right now today, and started Muay Thai over there. Loved the sport, and then as I started loving MMA more, I started Muay Thai, and then I liked the MMA aspect of it, and I'm like, and it was just, I remember seeing jiu-jitsu as a necessary thing to just, you gotta learn this like this. It's just like, ugh. And then I remember moving to Pennsylvania the year after, after summer, and I was doing some Muay Thai here and there, and I remember like going to one small MMA spot, a little bit, just some drills, some pummeling drills. I remember that was it. And for people that don't know what pummeling is basically like some certain drill. It's not fighting in any way. It's just a drill. And it was just mostly strength and conditioning. But back then, nobody Googles the instructor. So we had some guy that didn't know anything about MMA, and he was teaching us just some strength and conditioning with a sprinkle of fighting, you know?
Yeah, when... And now, not to put shit on any of these people, because they did what they could at that moment, but where I was starting with MMA, or where I started with MMA, it was a club. It was basically bouncers and security guys from casinos who just needed to know how to fight on the street, right? So they formed a club, then they occasionally, then it became more regular, invited a coach from a different city to come who really knew what they're doing. But
and where was this again?
This was in my university city, Brno, in Czech Republic.
Amazing.
When I was studying.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was like that was fun. Okay, I was like 70 to 75 kilos that time.
Wow.
I was like
skinny.
Yes, skinny and the lightest. By far, me and my brother, always the lightest there. It was 90 plus, 95, sometimes 100 plus kilo, 10 to 15 year older guys who were basically doing it because kind of their life depended on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So there were either these guys or some of them were like police force, and it was super dodgy. Like we never had hot water in a shower, for example. Like there's hot water. We are always making fun. Like hot water runs out when in summer, when the water that was in the pipe leading there got cold, right? Because it was just like some black hose on the roof, so it gets a little.
It would warm up a little bit. That was the heating. That's natural heating.
Yeah, that was it. And like you would come in and immediately, and it's like for me, it's a signature smell for any MMA or Muay Thai place, and that's sweat.
Yes.
Sweaty shoes, because all shoes are right in the door, and that Thai. Like a cream,
Tiger Balm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had that stuff on me all over, like so many fights.
So it either heats or it's like weird sensation. You don't know if it's cooling or heating, right? And smell of that, and that's it. Like that's a signature.
Oh my God, you brought me back so many memories. Oh my God. But the thing is, see, it's that search for a sport, and And not so many people can relate to this. And what I love about my journey is that one thing led to another. One sport led to another. Muay Thai led to MMA. And then once I moved to Pennsylvania, I remember like there was a little bit of a time period, and then I found a judo, like an MMA, Scranton MMA. I remember this is northeastern Pennsylvania, in the middle of nowhere. And I remember they were doing CrossFit in 2010, super early on.
That's pretty early on.
Yeah, and I remember like, what is this CrossFit? They had this CrossFit instructor doing handstand walks, and I'm like, what is this? Is this a circus or what?
I mean, 2010, I didn't even know CrossFit exists. Yeah.
That was when I first heard about it. And then I got involved in judo. A little bit of judo, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and more on judo because their instructors really pushed for judo. And by the way, that gi that you see behind the camera, that gi is from that academy, FYI. From the very first. This is the very first gi I ever got.
Yeah, just to make it clear for everybody, it's framed.
Yes, it is framed.
It's sealed and framed in the glass.
We'll send a picture later on. We'll maybe put it in a post or something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I loved the community about it. I was an international student from Dubai in a northeastern Pennsylvania town. They've never seen any Arabs. I was the darkest person over there, and but the thing is, there was no diversity. But they were super nice, and I loved the community aspect of it. And then obviously because of the cold, because of the ice and the snow, the minus 16 degree lifestyle, I transitioned and went to moved to Los Angeles. And when I moved,
okay, so it was that bad that you just like
I couldn't. Well, my cousin actually transferred before me, and that put a lot of pressure on me. So I was like, no, okay, I'm not staying here alone. So I moved to California. And I was waiting for my opportunity to actually get my car and be able to go to an MMA gym. I didn't think about jiu-jitsu. And then I came into this. It was just convenient. This place is super close to my place. I didn't know where it was just called Gracie Baja. It was one of those academies. And I went at night and I remember seeing banners, 1 week free trial, and then kids' pictures. And I'm like, what is this? This is not serious. And I remember I still remember.
Who gives you a week for free, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, and it just looked like those Cobra Kai karate kid kind of vibes. Like those. It looked like those, probably a very fat instructor is going to come up and he's going to be teaching a class. And this is at night, so they were closed. And then I was like, let me just try it out. I've been seeing the UFC. Jiu-jitsu is very important. Everybody says jiu-jitsu is very important.
Yeah,
and it's convenient.
That time, only people who really understood were saying it.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, it's a necessary evil. I gotta just learn it. And since I don't have my car, I can walk to this place. It's so convenient. And turns out that was Homlo Bahal's academy, and he was at the time a 2-time black belt world champion, or a 3-time black belt world champion in 2010. If I got this mistaken, I'm sorry. But but throughout those years, let alone the fact that they welcomed me in, I started learning the sport, and. But the thing is, what I loved about it is that it was the one sport that you can do without actually genuinely hurting yourself. And it was sustainable. And that, for me...
You mean from the category of combatives?
Yes, in terms of potential injuries. Yep. I remember them telling me, this is the one sport that you can actually go 100% without risking any kind of injury. I mean, Muay Thai or any kind of striking sport... You're talking about. This is not a hit on Muay Thai, but you need to be mindful. You need to be like, if you're training, you're not going to be punching your training partner full clip in their head. No way.
I don't know if you. It's a big thing now for me, but I don't know if you know about this. But Jiří Procházka is. He won a title in a UFC today in his weight category, which I still don't remember what it is. But he beat Teixeira.
I was supposed to not know this because I was going to watch the...
Well, anyway, okay. Watch it for sure. Okay. And This is very terrible of me.
It's all good. It's all good.
You're not first person to spoil this.
It's all good. I've spoiled my fair share of fights, so it's all good. It's karma.
Yeah. Anyway, he like definitely watch it because from what I've seen also online, like comments like this will be maybe a fight of the year.
Oh wow!
They both got 120 significant blows. You know how they count the score, like, you know, because of the dominance and so on.
Yeah.
So it was there and there, 27 one round, 20 this, 120 over 5 rounds.
Oh wow!
120 significant blows, both of them. That's significant, and 88% of them were to head.
Oh wow!
So yeah, when you think about sustainability, how many fights like this you can take without actual damage, right? Brain is way softer than we tend to think.
And CTE is a real thing. And, I mean, the more you start looking into it, anyways. But the thing is, for me, as a civil engineering student at the time, studying in the States, it didn't make sense to get hit in the head a lot. So,
I figured that only after 2 years doing that. So.
Oh my God. But the thing is, what I loved about it is that they welcomed me in. I tried the sport, but it was just, for me, it was something to belong to. It was something to progress in. It was just, I wanted something to constantly grow. And my whole goal was MMA. It was just like I got into, at the time, I was still like MMA, but then I was doing jiu-jitsu until I get my car. I get my car from Pennsylvania because I was going to ship it out.
All right.
And during this time, like in the first 2 months, might as well just train jiu-jitsu. That's how I thought about it. They welcomed me. I started training. I started loving the sport. I started like actually having people that I really want to beat. You know, they beat me a few times. I want to beat them now. It's like that competitive thing, and it's a lot of people cannot understand this, and it's because you're my friend, but I want to beat you. It's kind of like football. Like, well, everybody can relate to football over here. It's the same competitive thing, but it's an individual kind of sport, and you always work on progressing. But for me, I always going back to our talk about fitness and how we relate to this. I just got into the sport kind of like just, I'm that, like if we're going to compare it to CrossFit terms, I'm that fat guy that does CrossFit all the time, still fat. So I was that guy for 7 years. In jiu-jitsu, with a belly, with man boobs. I did not care.
Really?
Yeah. I have pictures. I'll send you later.
Oh, shit. Well,
And I didn't care about my diet. I would be the guy that would try to get the guys to, you know, mess up their diet. The only times I would actually...
You were the devil on the shoulder.
Oh, yes. I was the guy that corrupts them in the dietary way, always. But then the one thing, I mean, I loved sugar. I loved the tea with milk, the karak tea with milk. But I would boil the milk itself, not the condensed milk, and put in a good amount of sugar. Anyways, so my lifestyle was bad. But I just didn't care. And the only times I would care is when we have a tournament. And when we have a tournament, I need to cut weight. I'm not eating any. So the guys would tell me, cut the salt, cut this, cut that. And I'm miserable for 2 weeks.
Okay, so how were you feeling when you were having this, your, dietary, very comfortable life where you were doing all the sugar, you were doing anything you wanted, but training into it, like, or wasn't the actual physical demand that big that you would feel like shit? Because if I eat like that and I have to train, I feel like shit.
But you have feeling healthy to compare it to. For me, I didn't have anything to compare
Never been
it to.
there, yeah.
I just didn't know.
Okay.
This is life. This is life.
So that was your standard.
See, and that's the thing that I realized talking to so many people today, is that they were like me. They are like me. I mean, back in the day, because they didn't know, they have no healthy version of themselves to compare it to. You feel miserable now because you remember what it feels like to be good, what it feels like to be healthy, to wake up energetic. People think it's normal to wake up tired every day and feeling like shit, basically. The people think that this is normal, that you actually have a crash in the middle of the day. Don't get me wrong, we all do have our crashes sometimes, but like not every day, not all the time.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be
your standard.
Life. Yeah. And for me, 7 years into the sport, I was in a destructive mode. And then I got into the military service. I'm 7 years into the sport, so I was like brown belt, purple belt at the time, or 6 years. So basically, when I got into the military, December of January 2017, sorry. And I was 85 kilograms.
Can you just touch on why you went to military?
Military service is mandatory for us Emiratis. 1 year at the time. Now
it's 1 year, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now they adjusted it. It's 11 months. But the thing is, I went there and I kept eating. I didn't care. I'm like, I know this is not healthy, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, I didn't really care. Just like, okay, I don't need the burger. I don't need the extra dessert. It's just common sense. But I never really put in any effort into my health or into my diet. And then I got into the military, 85 kilograms. I did my first course, dropped 10 kilograms, 75. And then slowly, after like that one course, that was boot camp. And that was intense boot camp, intense diet. It was being under the sun 24/7. It was brutal, physically on me.
So how long was it?
That one was 4 months. So 4 months, I lost 10 kilograms.
Okay, and what your day looked like?
Well, waking up at 4 a.m., marching drills, sometimes some lectures, and then we would go by around 9-ish. So basically, we would have like a schedule, a lot of marching, a lot of lectures, a lot of basically punishments. Push-ups or all that stuff from time to time.
Physical rewards.
Yes, physical rewards. And then, but it was so much more active than my lifestyle was. I mean, it wasn't brutal. It was a lot of standing, a lot of marching, a lot of stiff marching. Engaging your core, and you need to get it right. And if you don't get it right, you get physically rewarded. And but the thing is, it got me to think. For me, I thought this is the best scenario for me to lose weight. I was like, I'm going to lose weight either way, because I'm going there. So I went there and I lost 10 kilograms. And I thought this was the best thing I'll ever get to, because 75, I don't remember the last time I was 75 at that time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll keep it like this and I'll leave it like this. And there's a saying, or there's a cliche with every, at least in our culture, in our society, everyone that goes into the military, if they were kind of chubby, they'll lose weight a little bit and then they'll get fatter. And the same exact thing happened to me. From 75, I slowly increased all the way to 83 by the end of that year in 2017. And mind you, in that year, by the time that I was 83, I was working out at least 2-3 times a day. And I was increasing my weight. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand it. And quite frankly, I didn't care. I really didn't. I just loved the sport. I trained jiu-jitsu in the morning.
Also, you're training jiu-jitsu at that point?
Yeah.
Oh, but that was already on your own after the military service?
No, this was in the military service. I had a situation where I would be in charge of jiu-jitsu, so I would train in the morning, lift weights in the morning, and by 9 I would be training jiu-jitsu with the black belts that would come in and train with us. And then by the evening, I would train in the academies here in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi. That's how obsessed I was. And I would be training that many times and I'm still increasing my weight. And it wasn't something crazy that I was overeating. No, it was just bad food. And then the one thing that I realized was ever since I remember I went to the States right after that at 83 kilograms. And I got to a point that I didn't care. I ate everything, and you've got American food. I just abused it. Came back at 89. Oh, well, the last weight I ever checked then I stopped checking. 89.6 at 169 centimeters as my height. So that's a lot. And ever since I came back, I remember getting into one thing that was an eye-opener. I always repeat this, and anyone that knows me knows that I have banged this hammer so many times, is that if you want to lose weight, educate yourself about diet. I had no idea, even though I remember buying the South Beach diet back in 2011 or 2012, trying to understand diet. I was like, polio, no way. I'm not going to let go of dairy. I'm not going to let go of all these things. Don't talk to me about these things. So, and no way I get into a vegetarian or vegan type of lifestyle. So I'm like, I felt like I was hopeless, like everybody else. And, but the thing is, ever since I started educating myself a little bit on ketogenic diet, I remember George St. Pierre's episode with Joe Rogan talking about intermittent fasting. So I was like,
he had some
gout, I think. Gout, is it?
I don't think it was gout, but it was some very tough condition for his digestion, and he needed to sort it out. But I can't remember, because there was also, but you all know better, Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, Gordon Ryan.
He also has something with
about like slow digestion, I think, or something like
and
that.
like anything he eats is causing him insane cramps and pain and inflammation and shit.
That's the thing. So I started educating myself about what is this intermittent fasting. Let me try it out. And ketogenic. I started a little bit by bit. So small changes, tiny changes. And then the training is a standard for me. I'm always training, and maybe not as much these days, but like I'm always.
I'll dig into this a little bit more when you say a little bit of ketogenic, right? Because the ketogenic is about you're either in a ketose or not,
yes.
Or you cycle it on and off, which seems to be for many people working very well. That they are kind of like, on that very, very low sub 50, sub 30 grams of carbs a day for a couple of days, and then they have one day where they will load carbs, but not with a cake and donuts, but with So what were you doing?
For me, it was like, for example, a ketogenic breakfast, like no carbs in my breakfast, and I remember doing it. I remember being in full-on keto for a while. But then I started feeling a little bit of low energy, and a lot of people just, once they see anything they don't like, instead of trying to investigate why they're feeling what they're feeling, I tried keto. Like, I've heard this so many times, and I'm sure you did too. I've tried ketogenic diet, but I had no energy. No, I went back to normal. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just Google it?
Yeah.
Why do I have low energy? I remember I just had that same thing. Why do I have low energy with I think it was intermittent fasting or ketogenic? I don't remember, or both. And I remember there was an article of someone saying a lot of people don't realize they need to add a little bit of salt to their diet. And I was like, it's just specific. And I was like, let me try it. I didn't give up, and I just kept adjusting bit by bit.
People are very happy sometimes to say it doesn't work, because if it doesn't work, you don't have to keep trying.
Exactly. And the thing is, if I was messing up a little bit of, and I remember I was doing intermittent fasting first, and then I started working my way into like some ketogenic meals, like, because sometimes I would be eating a little bit of like a piece of bread, for example, at lunch, but not in the morning. And then I started, and then it's just living my life a little bit by bit like this. And I wouldn't have dinner, so I would be having like two big, like humongous meals, and my weight started to drop.
So you were not having dinner?
I wouldn't be having dinner, but I would be having a late lunch. Like, I would be having a late breakfast and a late lunch. So basically 4 or 5 p.m., I would be having my dinner.
Like your last meal, basically.
Yeah, my lunch / dinner. Yeah. But I would be eating a lot, and then 2 hours later, I'm training, and then I'm the type of.
This is very interesting, because usually people have way stronger power of will, to skip the breakfast, and then within intermittent fasting do the window where they eat later.
Yeah.
And finish it with a dinner, because they don't want to go to bed hungry, right? So this is like, I would say, everybody. It's exaggerated, but almost everybody who's doing intermittent fasting is doing it this way.
But
the eating window is late. But you're saying that you had the eating window somewhere like starting a late breakfast and finishing with a late lunch. So it was like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So you were not eating after 5 and maybe before 10 or 11, right?
Yes. And the thing, well, I would be eating around 11, and I'm supposed to be eating at around 6, I think. 6 or 7, basically, or 7, I think. 8-hour window for 16-hour fast. But the thing is, for me, it was because I'm the type of person that I don't really get that hungry right after training. Mm-hmm. I'd be okay with the good old Frio sparkling drink. We need to put in a shout out over there, plug a little bit. But soon, inshallah, we'll be having this in the academy. But anyways, marketing goes into the blood. But anyways, but I'd be like, for example, drinking coffee or drinking water after training, and I really don't feel like having a late dinner. And I realized, so bit by bit, I don't think this happened instantly. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes the guys would be excited, let's go get dinner, blah, 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 blah. I'll do it. I'll be eating at 9 or at 10 p.m., for example. But then what would I do? The nice thing about intermittent fasting, I think this is the one thing that kept my progress going, is that even if I mess up in this one day, I can make it up the very next day. So these small changes, and then my weight dropped from 89.6, got all the way to 70, to 75, 74, 73. I remember seeing 73, freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God,
I'm 73.
I'm 73. And I remember I used to have this saying to all of the guys. I would tell all of the guys in the States back when I was in college, if I ever hit 60s, know for a fact I'm taking steroids. I remember saying that. But the thing is, I remember ever since I started, it's just the big eye-opening thing was actually seeing the effect of a correct diet or a diet that works with you. I'm not saying, because I remember looking back, I didn't do one specific thing. I just did a lot of things, but small things, small changes. It wasn't super impossible. And then I realized, looking back, and then bit by bit, I got all the way down to 69, 68, 67. Right now I'm at 67, chilling. But I got all the way down to 62 and not cutting weight. Everyone would tell me, are you cutting weight for a tournament? I'm like, no, I just genuinely feel better.
There's no tournament.
There's no tournament. Exactly. I just felt better. And for me, that was the eye-opening thing. And ever since 7 years in, going back to 7 years in, and as I started adjusting my diet, I started slowly adding some things into to support my sport. So I started jogging for like 5 kilometers, and then I jogged for 10 kilometers, and then I started doing some cycling here and there. Some of these cycling studios, I'm the only guy there, so no shame
with all the ladies. Yeah?
Yes, no shame. But it was, for me, all of these things that complemented my sport with my diet, with small changes. Sometimes I would mess up with my diet, but intermittent fasting. Like, for example, maybe I'm at abandoned keto for today, but I'm still at intermittent fasting and understanding why. The one thing that got me to be really excited about the diet was why. Why the intermittent fasting? Why is it 16 hours not eating? Why is insulin depriving your body of insulin for 16 hours? What's the benefit? Once you understand that, because it's like, Paulo, you could tell me whatever advice, I'll respect you. You're in the area of, this is your area of expertise in terms of fitness, in terms of, progressing your body and progressing your muscles and everything. But if you tell me, you just give me orders, don't get me wrong, I respect you, I love you, everything. But I eventually, I'm sure you see it in your clients too. And the thing is, for me, it stuck with me because could never follow instructions with any one of my friends, because everyone tries to help out. You know, you're surrounded by super healthy and fit guys. They're trying to help you out. You never listen.
You know, you kind of like started with a good pass to what I want to say, and now you finish the circle yourself. What you said before, it's extremely important to educate yourself.
Yes.
I would also look at it, I would like push it a bit further, and I would say that it's extremely important to educate yourself about yourself, because it might not work for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. It's, as you said, like you tried a little bit there, it was moving the right direction. Yeah. Of course, probably not after 2 days, but maybe after 2-3 weeks, you see if it's going the right way or not. It might not be straight away 3 kilos in a week, right?
Yes.
But you see if you feel better, if you sleep better, if you have deeper sleep, if you don't even have to track it. Just do you wake up tired or wrecked, or you are like waking up with a feeling I'm ready to go, right?
Yes.
How many people are waking up with like, okay, let's go.
They don't understand that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that this is possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
They don't even think like, what? That happened.
Wake up energetic.
Yeah, that happened when I was 12 last time.
And that's the thing. And it's just, for me, the strongest force that kept me committed is understanding what does what. And I remember telling one of our students, he was like, do you have any piece of advice for me to, like, in terms of diet? I was like, you know what? I have one quick thing for you. Observe your body after you eat. Just try to be mindful of your body. If you feel like basically shit, try to avoid that. Like if you eat like the molten cake from Chili's, that is amazing. I've been craving it for a while now. But if you eat that, you're going to crash on your way back. Like in that insulin crash, because you're going to feel that, I shouldn't have eaten it. And so I started observing and understanding what does what. It's so basic. It's so basic.
This is very solid. And this, in the past couple of weeks, third or fourth time I am hearing this exact advice. Make sure you observe how you feel 1 to 2 hours after you ate.
Yes.
Not in that moment. It will feel amazing, most likely.
Of course. McDonald's feels amazing. Then a couple hours, give it.
That's the thing, right? Like, you cannot judge if the food is good or bad for you based on how it tastes. Exactly. You have literally, and this is not exaggeration, engineers whose work is to make it tasty. So it will be tasty, right?
Yes, exactly.
Once it's on the market, especially fast foods and everything with, labels.
They're rich for a reason.
If you have to label it like this is food, we have a problem, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing. And the thing is, I've been getting into this, like as I was progressing in my own journey. My dad had 6 blocked arteries in 2016, or a little bit before that. But then 2016 they were working on him, and he had quite a few stents, like 6 stents, and there was a risk of open heart surgery. It was a very difficult time. And the thing is, for him, what was very crazy for me to see was, at the time, was my dad, they would tell him to avoid smoking, avoid eating sugars, avoid raising your cholesterol. He was living off of 12 pills a day, prescribed for life. For life. The doctor would tell you, you take these pills until the day you die. As simple as that. And we were accepting it because we didn't know. It's a doctor. It's the expert. It's the guy with the white robe. That's the thing. And I know this is triggering a lot of stuff because we talked about this before.
The new God.
It's so bad. But then with my dad, I remember he went to this, like one of those alternative therapy guys, and they would tell him, the first thing you need to stop is statin, which is, I think, either a cholesterol medication or like a blood pressure medication.
Blood pressure medication.
Blood pressure, yes. And
I mean, it kind of all goes together, but statins are to regulate the blood pressure.
Yeah, and then that has the basic... it has the side effects 1, 2, 3. They'll give you 1, 2, 3 pills to manage the side effects.
Just a very quick side story, okay? I've seen one guy doing a deep analysis of the drugs on the market, and he came into conclusion he found a basic drug against diarrhea, side effect, possible diarrhea. You know? Yeah, in the list of side effects
Of diarrhea.
Of the
Anti-diarrhea.
Anti-diarrhea, it was possible diarrhea. Or you have headache pills, whatever, side effects, you know, like,
Migraine.
Migraine, stomach discomfort, you know, and you always have the most funny ones at the end because it just fucking makes no sense, you know.
It's so crazy.
Yeah,
And that's the thing.
You know, statins, side effect, high blood pressure. Now I'm making this up, but you get the point. Like.
That's why, for example, blood, and I think it was like some pills would, for example, would give you a potential of blood clots. So get blood thinners. Oh, blood thinners. Oh, you need this, and then you need the other thing, and then you build up to 12. So the thing is, with my dad, that was the case, and then he switched out of the blue for 6 months vegan, full on vegan. I never expected my dad in his late 50s at the time. That he would switch to vegan. Veganism.
This transformation usually happens when it's like very bad. There's nothing else to try.
Exactly. So he transitioned and he stayed with that for like 6 months until I think in my opinion, the deficiencies started catching up. Because I'm sure he cleared up a lot of things. A lot of the things that we do with our processed foods he used to eat and the sugars and all of that kind of stuff. So being vegan for a while actually cleared up a lot of good things. You know, it's like a nice detox. But then, and then a few months later, 6 months later, he got this tendinitis, this ringing sound in his ear. And the craziest thing is that this ringing sound was the best blessing and worst curse at the same time. Best blessing, and I still think it was more of a blessing because that was basically my dad's natural indicator of how healthy he is. So if he's, because there is no solution for tendinitis. So if you have this ringing sound in your ear that does not stop, that will never. There are some people that never stops ever.
Really?
Yeah, and it gets them to the brink of insanity if it gets really high. So it gets high and low, but doesn't stop. So sometimes it stops, like temporarily, and then comes back. That's my dad. And there's a community of people like my dad. So the thing is, and stuff like processed foods, stuff like blue light, believe it or not, random things actually trigger this. So,
well, I'm not surprised because blue light is important, right? When it's midday.
Yes.
Because that's the spectrum sun is at in the middle of the day, right?
Exactly.
But you're not supposed to have sun in your face, which is the screen in your face at 11 p.m., right?
Exactly. And the thing is with him, grounding, he started doing grounding. I never heard of grounding. I didn't know what that was.
Can you explain it?
Yes, basically grounding is being in your bare feet on the ground and preferably sand or grass or something, and it just grounds all of the remnants of frequencies in your body from all of the variable sources, whether it's electronics or it's other things, and that actually makes a big difference. Walking on the beach actually has benefits for you, and for us, we don't actually stand on actual ground. We're standing on a slab right now on top of tiles. That's the engineering in me. But but the thing is, but when we're not standing on the ground with sand, grounding those frequencies.
And just to clarify this for people who would assume that this is some like voodoo shit, like this is not a voodoo shit.
Yeah.
This is actual. You can measure this.
Yes.
With the charging, right? The electrical potential or whatever they call it, like the charge of the surfaces you are standing, you are touching, and you have covers. We have it at home. It's this thin cover. You plug it into...
Yes, the grounding mat. You have that?
Mat. Yeah,
you have that? Amazing.
Yeah. So you plug it. You even have to have the socket charged properly. Like it's like I have this little testing tool. It has a couple of lights, and you have to when you plug it in, it has to give you a certain combination of the lights, and that means that socket is suitable for you to plug in the charging mat into it, and that's like a substitution for you to actually spending
Going
15-30 minutes a day with a bare skin, ideally feet, right? Yeah. Contact with the charge of the earth, which is sand, or beach, or grass, whatever you have.
Yes. And see that for my dad, and then my dad switched. Ever since obviously the tendinitis, veganism isn't working, and then he found out, he started learning more about deficiencies and stuff like that. And then my dad literally switched from veganism all the way to the carnivore diet.
Okay.
Now my dad switched. And the thing is, that's basically ketogenic. If you think about it, fats and proteins. A lot of fats and a lot of proteins.
Because the ketogenic at the base of it, the ketosis, it's not a diet, it's a state where your body is producing the ketones,
yes.
right? Ketone bodies. And these have, let's say, properties that they can give you the energy
in a much more efficient way.
Yes, because they are created from fats in your liver, right? But yeah, any diet where you eliminate carbs to a very strict degree will get you the ketosis. So yeah, carnivore for sure.
And my dad literally, that's the thing. And he kept educating himself bit by bit. I mean, it was out of a need because of the ringing sound that's driving him crazy at the time. And my dad grabs me and tells me, do you know how many people that we have in, I think in the UAE, how many people have diabetes? I was like, how much? It was like 20%. I was like, oh, that's not too bad, Dad. Yeah, in all honesty, he was like, okay, that's not too bad. I agree. That's not too bad. That's not too crazy. But do you know how many people have diabetes that are above 50 years old? I was like, how much? It was like 50%. And I'm like, whoa. And the thing is, diabetes is, in my opinion, if you're educated, you'll never get diabetes. There's no way.
No, I will disagree with this.
I mean, there are
if
many.
You act on the education you get.
Oh, yes. That is very true. And the thing is,
you can know all the shit, but if you don't do it.
A lot of doctors don't get taught about nutrition, but I mean, necessarily it does look as bad as a fat doctor.
When you will search for this, and now this is not putting dirt on doctors, because they have their own specialties and whatever, but their basic training in nutrition is maybe a couple of hours in the or studies. Like they know everything about the small intestine. They know everything by cell, about everything what is happening in the digestion, but they don't really study the nutrition from the standpoint of what to put into yourself and what not. Do you have pets?
Yes, I have 3 dogs.
Yeah. What is the first thing a vet will ask you if you come with your dog to the vet? What was he eating?
Yes.
Right? What is the food? When is the last time doctor asked you this?
Yes.
Right? They always go like, what was he eating? Why is he sick? What was he eating? Right? That's the first thing the vets always ask.
Yes.
Whether it's I don't know,
is he
cannery?
Moving around? Is he playing? Blah, blah. Those are the questions the vets actually ask.
Yeah, whether it's cannery, cat, dog, or a falcon. Yeah, that's popular here, right?
Yes, yes.
So I was like, didn't he eat something bad? Well, when was the last time doctor actually asked you?
Yes, no, never. And but the thing is, people are just looking, and I realized, I'm not painting anyone in a broad brush, but I'm saying I've seen a lot of people that, going back to the things that frustrates us in seeing people is not the lack of educating. It's just your journey. You take your time. See, that's the thing that I wish I could be able to tell everyone. You take your time in educating yourself. It's you against you. And I like one of the guys that comes and trains with us, Sultan. I'm seeing him posting 1% better every day. That's the thing. It's exactly that. It's 1%. If you can actually get 1% or 0.1% better every day,
Because, I mean, when you think about it, if you're 1% better every day, and that accumulates, that's over 400% better a year, right?
And that's not realistic.
And
The
that's it,
0.1% is good enough also.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. As long as you can educate yourself, as long as you can actually understand what the hell is all of this diet bullshit is all about. You know, and for me, I had a very bad relationship with food. It's just like either binging because I just finished the tournament, either won or lost, or I am. It's just you have an excuse. You know, you won,
you win,
you celebrate. You lose, you gotta drown your sorrows with the cola and the burger, and because I've been dieting for too long, I need to give myself a little bit. It's just excuses. And the thing is, once you start understanding, okay, you have a better relationship with food. You don't need to cut like 20 kilograms in 10 days or 10 kilograms in 5 days. There is no need. You're putting there's a risk of shutting down your kidneys. There's a risk of being sent to the hospital. There's a risk of you actually passing out and hitting your head. There's so many possible risks. I'm talking about specifically fighters that cut weight. And
happened here.
Yeah, we've had injuries.
I don't want to say names because I probably don't remember them anyway.
Yes, it's just
a guy passing out on the training.
Yes,
not once.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the thing is, it's people need to understand. We want the best for everyone. I personally want the best for everyone. And going all the way to like talking about the diet, talking about like me actually getting in shape for the first time in maybe 8 years or 7 years, and going and understanding, okay, I'm actually, and I remember like, cause my dad would always throw in some comments. He would, I remember he would see me for years. It's like, I can never consider you as an athlete until you get a six pack. And then until I got a six pack, I was like, now. Am I an athlete now? But the thing is, it's the one thing I realized is that I'm not better than anyone. I didn't do anything that was different. I didn't do much big differences. I look back today. I mean, even today, I'm eating what I ate when I was 85 kilograms back in the day. But it's just, I'm a little bit more mindful. I wouldn't eat super early. And I wouldn't eat, for example, I wouldn't break my fast with bread, a croissant, or something that was sweet. And I realized I'm kind of doing. I don't know if you've ever heard of this glucose goddess girl that's on Instagram. Anyways, this girl is amazing. She talks about the order of the food that you eat can make a big difference. And I realized I've been kind of, like I said, keto breakfast, a little bit carbs in lunch. And it depends on dinner if I'm going to eat dinner.
Yeah, like I always look at it from perspective that I learned from Julian from StrongFit. And that is basically eating according to your nervous system. Because through the gut flora, all the bacterias, you have, what you said, 67 kilos?
Yes.
You have at least between 2 to 4 kilos of bacteria in your gut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. And we have more connections, neural connections of the vagus nerve, the 10th cranial nerve that is going from your gut to the brain. That direction, literally, readings from your gut to the brain. There's more neural connections there than in your spinal cord.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you always feed different types of bacteria. They respond to different types of food. Okay?
Interesting.
So if you eat carbs, there's a different response through that bacteria because you feed a different type of them.
Interesting.
And they will send, because of their increased activity, the readings in the gut from the nervous system is different. It will send up to your brain. From fat, from protein, all the readings are different. We are not supposed to combine protein and carbs in one meal. Not only because, let's say, acidity in the stomach for digestion is different. That's one part of it. But the readings from the gut is different. And carbs will kick you. They will give you the kick. They will give you the energy.
Yeah.
The protein will shut you down, calm you down. I always do this question. When was the last time you had like amazing steak, 400 gram of meat, and you're like, let's go train now? But it never happens. It will shut you down because it's triggering your rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system.
Interesting.
So how I always look at the food is it's a fuel for what is coming. So if I want to rest and digest, I have protein. If I want to be more active, especially physically active, I will have that carbs. But if I know I will have, let's say, lazy-ish Sunday where I have some clients in the morning, and then I record podcast, and then let's say we go for a walk or something, but I know I'm not going to exert any extra effort, or even the type of training, I'll do just a little bit more bodybuilding type of training, not like insane long AMRAP. Yeah. Why would I have carbs? Or why would I have many carbs when I know I'm not going to use that fuel?
That's amazing.
Right?
Yes, and I realized I'm naturally kind of doing. You start picking up on these things, and the more you educate yourself, the more. But then you look at other people, and you understand that there are people like myself. I was completely oblivious. Completely, I had no idea. I'm wrecking myself. Like I would get a burger just before I, for example, meet up with Paulo for a workout. It didn't even register in my brain. If I was hungry, I'll eat. Yeah. And that's how everybody was. And for me, the one thing is I really hope a lot of people would understand is that invest in yourself, invest in educating yourself, invest in actually moving yourself, because the thing is being aware, being awake, being present in your day-to-day life, being able to actually keep going in your day-to-day life. People do not understand the potential of that. I'm not saying that you need to be the fittest person in the world, but if you want to be walking at 70 years old,
but you should be the fittest of your potential.
In my opinion, yes, yes, of course. But the thing is, and it's necessary. It's not a complimentary thing. You need it to be healthy, to be actually sustainable, and that's the one main thing. It's because, like, a lot of people we've been having many talks with my father and my mom. I'm like, you guys need to lift weights. Not a lot of us, in the Arab community does talk about this as much, because we're a growing community, but the thing is, the main thing is that, for example, my dad my dad's in his 60s. And I would tell my dad, I was like, unless you want me to carry you in a few years, you need to work on your legs. You need to work on your back. You need to work on these things to protect your body. Protect your body with your own muscles.
I don't want to even start with all this, but I have two things to say. Yeah. What you said towards the hunger. Yeah. You mentioned you were eating when you were hungry.
Yes.
There's also very important kind of line of thoughts we can go into, because if you look at how our species, but not only us, also all the other animals, of course, domesticated, it's a little bit different, but how they were created, hunger is not your body telling you that you are supposed to eat right now. Because if that is the case, you will die, because there is a very big gap between your body telling you you need food and you actually getting the food.
Yes.
Only we now, these days, have that access that I feel hungry, I eat. I feel hungry, I eat. No, hunger was always evolutionary, a signal to get the food. It's a call for action, not to be passive and just go to the fridge. Not action of going to the fridge, but actually going out, seeking the food, seeking the berries, picking it up, or whatever it was, hunting. Yeah. So you always, the saying, like the hungry wolf is always going to move faster than the one on the top of the hill already.
I like that. Yeah. I like that very much. And that's the thing. It's just understanding. A lot of, like, for me, like I said, I've come down to this conclusion, but through many trial and errors. It takes one step at a time. And the funniest thing, you know what, Paulo? the funniest thing is that I never genuinely stopped myself from eating anything. If I wanted that McDonald's burger, you can bet your ass I'm going to go there, get that McDonald's, I'm going to eat it, I'm going to enjoy it.
And you'll drag a couple of people with you as well.
Yes, for sure. But the thing, because if I'm messing up, I'm like, I'm peer pressure. Let's go. Just come on, bro. Anyways, but the thing is, I'm never going to stop myself from doing that. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat this right now. I'm going to enjoy it. And then that's it. It's over. خلاص. I'm like, I got that craving. I satisfied that craving. I'm not going to get that craving again. I'm not going to get that tomorrow.
I'm a little bit different in this because for whatever reason, and we can call it pure luck or just
you never
how
really
I was
liked
raised,
it.
I don't have cravings.
That's amazing.
I never have like, oh shit, I would like to have this and this particular food. I don't have it. I was like, I eat to fuel the body. Of course, Tima is amazing cook. She's doing amazing desserts, all in a kind of keto way, right? Nice. She's cooking amazingly meat. She's like, she can do anything in the kitchen, right? But I even underappreciated. Some other people would appreciate it so much more, but I don't, because for me it's fuel. I'll just eat it. If it doesn't taste too good, I'll eat it. If it's amazing, I'll eat it. I have kind of the same attitude towards that. And I don't know why is that. Maybe because how we were raised, me and my brother, like when you didn't eat what was on the table, there's nothing else. Not in a meaning of we couldn't afford it, but in a meaning of, hey, you're not going to be a picky bitch. You eat what is here, And we always made fun of our mom for this. It was like, oh my God, this delicious plain whatever, But we always ate everything.
That's amazing. But you know what? Have you ever heard of I love this. But have you ever heard of the book Dead Doctors Don't Lie? Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
No.
It's I'm listening to it. It's an audiobook that talks basically about the essence of a lot of diseases and a lot of cravings usually stem from like a mineral deficiency. It's very amazing. I advise everyone to actually check it out because
what is the name?
Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Dead doctors, like they died.
Yeah,
okay. Not that doctors.
No. Dead
doctors don't lie.
Dead doctors don't lie. Mm-hmm. And it's a very interesting book. Talks about a lot of meta-analysis, a lot of research papers where they talk about they compare about again going to the vet. A lot of vets supplement their animals with minerals to avoid giving them mass doses of antibiotics. It's just cost. It's just because if you have a farm, you want to maintain your assets, and without maintaining them a lot with money. And but anyways, and one of the things that they touched on about mineral deficiencies is that because we eat so much processed food, a lot of processed food that have had its basically natural minerals, natural vitamins stripped away from, and your body craves those minerals. Like for example, selenium deficiencies through that is caused by a deficiency in vitamin D. There's a lot of people talk about this.
Yeah, and selenium and zinc are the two most important elements to have if you want to have your own, what they call it, anti-oxidative stress. Basically protection.
Amazing.
So instead of taking vitamin C to reduce the oxidative stress as an antioxidant, you can just take selenium and zinc, and they are not doing it in a manner of like vitamin C, A, and E. They reduce oxidative stress, okay?
Okay.
But they do it themselves. If you take selenium and zinc, these will play into cascade of reactions in your body that your body will do it. So it's way more natural.
Amazing. Yeah? And see, that's the thing. A lot of people, it's just, again, this is an endless black hole. I love that it talks about, because the more you understand, the more you try to educate yourself about your diet, about your body, about your life. And once you start seeing the difference in your body, you start seeing the difference in your energy level, you start seeing yourself in your mood with everyone around you, that it's a big difference. It's a big difference that I realized. It opened my eyes after 7 years of, even though I've been training jiu-jitsu for I've been training jiu-jitsu for 11 years now, but 7 years at the time. And then once my training just elevated, got to a completely different level of being healthy, being sustainable. And the one main thing for me I realized is that my main thing is I want to be able to train until I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, 90, to be honest with you.
Oh, we all live till 100, 120 for sure.
I'll take the last 10 years break. I'm done.
He'll be like, okay, theoretical jiu-jitsu last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, but the one main thing is for me is that I realized is that it's very important to actually understand your body, to actually to understand your diet, to understand the ability to prevent injuries.
Also the cravings, right?
Prevent the cravings, yes.
Yeah. Understand them, because how you want to deal with it when you don't understand it. I had this conversation, and this was like, for me, it blew my mind that day. Okay, like I was hearing somebody talk about people actually having their comfort food. That, if I feel sad, I have chocolate. Making this up. If I'm depressed because teacher whatever coming back home from school, I will have an ice cream. I was like, what? Like that's bullshit. Like people don't think like that. And then I was in a gym, and I had exactly. I was. I was in the gym and I was about to coach a class, but a couple of minutes before we were just chatting with some clients. I was like, hey guys, like I heard this thing today, and I explained them what was it about. And they're like, yeah, I have. And they just started to list, like, when I'm sad, I have this. When I'm depressed, I have this. When I'm, coming after a tough day in the work, I have this. And for Saturday evening, it's this. I was like, what? Like, where is this coming from? And they knew what their comfort food for what emotion is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I bet if you dig into it from also maybe a little bit more psychology perspective, and you just start to actually come into root when it started, how it went, like that has very little to do what actually body wants. That's all coming from your psychology. That's all coming from your emotions, and maybe possibly some imbalances or things are just not on the right place, because I don't think that's how we are supposed to be built, that for every emotion, I have food that will help me for that.
That's so annoying. It bothers me right now. Because I remember people saying, I need my chocolates. I'm too stressed. I need my chocolates. And I
look like if you need chocolate because you feel certain way, the fact that you need chocolate is the least important.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
There is a way bigger problem behind that.
I feel like it's an addiction to sugar. It's just that, and then if they don't eat their comfort food, they get a headache. I wonder why.
No shit.
That's what they call withdrawals.
Yeah.
That is what withdrawals is. And this leads up to like what we were talking about before this. We need to educate people. We need to actually shed some light into sustainability of working out. How can you work out the right way? There's no one right way. There's the kettlebell people, there's the CrossFit people, there's the bodybuilding people, there's the cyclists, there's all of these different types of disciplines.
Yeah. However, there are some underlying principles that applies to absolutely everybody.
Yes, and that's the thing I wanted to.
That's what you want to do.
Yes.
So tell me more about what that plan, where it came from, and what the plan is for the academy to step up the game.
The thing is, for me, it reminds me of the time back in the States when I went there. I remember because Like I'm the guy from Dubai who came in with a little bit of a belly, you know, a little bit of man boobs here. And but the thing is, I'm so used to seeing my peers, nobody having six packs. Maybe one guy. Oh, and he was the obsessed guy with the gym, and
he was the weird one.
Yes, and he was the anomaly. But then I remember going to the States, going to Los Angeles, and meeting everyone. And I remember saying this very clearly. These guys come like, because we say there's a saying like from the showroom, like the car from the showroom. And I remember like saying, these guys come out like in an Arabic saying, in an Arabic way. I'm like, these guys get out of the showroom with a six pack, you know, like everybody comes in with the six pack. It's like a standard procedure. I'm like, where do they get these? And I remember this one guy who's half Egyptian, half Mexican. Super random, I know, but and I remember his name was Muhammad, and I remember he was okay, buff a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And but then I realized then one day comes in Paulo. I swear to God, the guy was jacked is an understatement. It was like someone drew his body. Mashallah, 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 mashallah. It was amazing. No evil eye, even though it was like 10 years ago. But still, I was like shocked. Like it gets you to like, whoa, what happened here?
It's like those movie with Ryan Gosling or something, and one girl commented and was like, fuck, you're like photoshopped.
Yes, basically. I saw that. I was like, what is that, bro? Wow. It's like I realized it's all in the diet, bro. And you hear this again and again and again, whether you want to hear it or not. And even if you're avoiding it as much as you want, you always hear everybody saying this bullshit about the diet. Educate yourself. Well, educate yourself as much as you possibly can. And the thing is, my thing is seeing that as the standard, as people being like, mashallah, super fit, super healthy. Everybody's doing multiple sports. I'm like, how are they? They're not better than us. You know, they're not better than people over here. I realized I wanted, and this is why I sat down with you. Hence the podcast today. We wanted to talk about the most important thing is sustaining your health the best way possible, optimizing your health. You're so much more able to do many more things than you think of. Like you think. A lot of my friends, I know, like, without naming names, but the first letter of his name is Saud. And that guy has so much potential. And I don't have no problem putting him on blast because my friend is a close friend of mine. But the thing is, Saud was once upon a time jacked. And I still believe this guy, if he knows how, just small adjustments, small, tiny adjustments. He doesn't need anything. I mean, I train with him. He kills me every time. Like, it gives me trouble. But the thing is, I realized that, look, there's so much more potential for a lot of people. Just all they need to know is the power of knowledge. And acting on that knowledge, of course. Going back to that. Acting on your knowledge. And always trying to strive to. Yeah,
but you need to start with the knowledge, because then you don't know what to do, right?
Exactly, and you start slowly trying to improve yourself, and then you'll be doing your own research. You'll be coming in and sharing with your friends that the new. Like I remember seeing you posting about like breathing, eccentric and eccentric breathing, and I'm like, what is this account? And I remember like it was just like an account just based on breathing. I think you reposted it once a while ago. Yeah.
Well, a lot. There's a couple of them. There's a couple of them.
So, and I still follow them. I still follow them to this day. And I'm like, you never know how much information is out there. We can complain all we want about maybe gas prices or the social media and all of these different things. But the thing is, the best asset that we have in our day and age today is lightning fast internet and endless abundance of information. But see, the thing is coming through that right information and getting and making these changes into your life. And that's why what I want is to create a list of workshops, a sequence of workshops that build people that I cannot wait to actually see all the new things that will be able to help me to optimize my life. And the thing is, it's in multiple disciplines. I'm not talking just about jiu-jitsu, even though jiu-jitsu is close to heart, and I love it so much. But the thing is, this happens in a lot of sports, in cycling.
It's cross-disciplinary, right?
Yes.
Like for me, because as you were saying before, you always wanted to know the why behind it.
Yes.
I'm super, super driven by that. I always wanted to know, like, if somebody is telling me to do something, but there is no why behind it, I'm not interested.
You can respect them a little bit, but
I'm losing interest straight away. Like there's, so that's why, and this is my clients using this against me actually, that if they will ask me, they want a break in the workout, and they'll be like, so how do I do, and they're like, why are we doing this? and they'll start to do, and I can't resist. I have to answer that, right? So because I'm there also to educate them, as you were saying at the beginning, like you had that coach for a year and you were learning from him.
Yes.
And so you can eventually do it on your own. Some people, they decide not to do it on their own for whatever reason. It might be accountability. They think they can still learn more, whatever.
It could be logistics. It could be many different things. Yeah,
many different things. But you should know why you do stuff you do.
Yes.
Because it gives you that intent. Okay? You know Integrit, the name of this podcast, it's a wordplay.
Okay.
How do you say it? Wordplay.
Yeah. Integrate,
between intent and grit.
Nice.
Yeah? Integrit.
Yes.
Because that's the two things that you always need to dial in. You need to know why you're doing shit, and then you need to do the work.
Yes. And see, this, just to avoid, because we're getting to see all of this, like, for example, we do see a lot of people, like, for example, go for shortcuts. Whether it's
pills for losing weight,
food to de-stress, or basically getting a surgery to cut all the weight all throughout the. Obviously, we do hear this so much.
That's way more common here than I would ever expect.
And the thing is, I realize this culture of looking for a way out. The way out is not, you can cut your weight you can cut 100 kilograms. Yes, you can. But the thing is, you're dealing with potential malnutrition because you get full so much faster than anyone else, and you haven't developed the skills needed to maintain that weight.
Yeah, like first of all, are you attacking the root cause?
Exactly.
Or are you just dealing superficially with the consequences?
And see, by the way, there was a fashionista I heard about, without naming names because we might get sued. But Saud, I know, is not going to sue me. But but the thing is, you do hear about these fashionistas that basically, there was one fashionista. She got her stomach cut, I think, and then she regained the weight and then did it again. Literally, just like maintenance. Just like maintenance. Maintaining a building or something. It's just, she became fat, got it cut, and then got fat again, got it cut again. And you're hearing so many people taking injections just to lose weight. And the thing, let alone the fat burners. I did try a fat burner back in the day when I was a kid, and I didn't know any better. I remember, I'll never forget this, Paulo. I literally felt the heat here of my body. Like, it was like you can feel the heat right here. Like, that's how far. Like I felt like I had a fever instantly, and it was weird. It was, and my heart was pumping, and it was just. It's not normal.
I remember one guy. I used to have a part-time job at one company way back, over 10 years now. It was like a summer break, and I used to do there, like, just, a helper in a storage for a company, and I was there with one other guy. And he was like, I'm he was way bigger than me. I was that good 70 kilos at the time.
Yeah.
He was like 90, 95, but like not necessarily muscle mass, let's say. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm hitting a gym and like, so excited he'll start the gym. And I have this pre-workout. I don't know. I don't even know what it was, but it was, I believe it was something like a C4, just to, I was like, like I get it in. And then when I go, like I feel itching absolutely everywhere. And then I know it works. And he was excited that he got itching all over his body from some powder shit he was taking.
See, that's the thing. It's
like, but when we were doing our tasks at that job, it was pretty physical, right? And I was still stronger than him.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So I was like, okay, good, like whatever. I mean, nothing against him. I don't know, but they was trying to get some super big shortcuts, right?
That's the thing. It's the culture. It's a culture of shortcuts. It's the culture of trying to avoid doing the work. Because it's anything that you don't know about. Look. Let's take it off of fitness for a second. A lot of people are against the cryptocurrency. Even though like I'm not a big advocate. It's not like I have a big crypto portfolio. I wish I did, but especially now that everything is down. But anyways, if you notice, everybody they didn't understand what Bitcoin was. They didn't understand what crypto was, and they were against it. And a lot of people, and what pisses me off is that when people like claim religion and they say it's, especially for Muslims, they say it's haram, it's prohibited. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. How is it haram? Do you know how it works? Does anyone know how it knows how it works? Like how the blockchain works? Well, now I think right now people know, but people didn't understand anything they wouldn't understand. They would naturally, if you notice, they would be against. Crypto, they didn't know what crypto was. I don't know what this is, blah, 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 blah. And then, no, I'm against that. No. These things they're going to go to zero. And the same type of thinking goes to fitness, goes to health. They don't understand it. They don't want to bother. And this is or it's too intimidating for a lot of people. What am I going to do?
I would say like or at least how I look at it now when you're saying it, like the intimidating part on whether it's educating yourself on crypto or educating yourself on your own body and testing out what works for you and what doesn't. The intimidating part is mainly that it requires you to do something, right? It requires effort. Because it's way easier to say, no, that's bullshit. A blockchain doesn't work, and it's a scam, and it's a pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, whatever, and it will go to shit, and you will never earn anything on that. It's way easier to just, talk shit than to actually dig into it and try to understand. I was lucky. I'm lucky because one of my clients, he has his own blockchain company, and he is very good at explaining it, so I understood it from his very, very simple instructions. And I mean, you need some guidance.
Yes, exactly.
You need some guidance because, as you said before, the information access is not a problem. The information quality is a problem now.
Yes.
We have so much of it that you don't know what to make of it. And let's bring us back to what we're trying to do and what we'll try to do with this series of
workshops, seminars, or whatever you would want to call it.
But whatever we call it, we want to give people real life experience with knowledge background, but they can test it.
Yes.
So it's not just something you will read online and then you don't know how to apply it, but you will come here, there'll be a whiteboard, there'll be two of us, or maybe even more people, right?
Oh yeah.
You, me, Timea, depends on the topic at that moment, the expertise we'll need, and we'll give you the theoretical explanation of, let's just get an example of mobility, right?
Yes.
Very misunderstood thing.
Yes,
how to work on your mobility, how to approach it in the most beneficial way, because it's not only the passive stretching, it's actually the exact opposite of passive stretching.
Yes.
When we go deeper into it. And then you will get to experience it, because with the right approach, you can see tiny results within minutes in mobility, let's say. And if I'll show you how to do it and you will experience it, you will do it within that seminar, and I'll give you some guide how to work on it on a daily basis. You'll be 0.1% better every day, which will lead to a sustainable and long-term results.
And that's the thing that we need. We need this as much as possible, because we do have. I got excited. We do have those individuals that are maybe intimidated about being. There is the concept of I'm too unhealthy. I need to get back in shape.
I need to be in shape before I come to train, right? Like this is completely backwards. I had that even in CrossFit. Which is purely a regime designed to get you fit. That no, I need to be fitter to come here. It's like
what do you tell these people? Like if you get in a class, I'm sure
it's bullshit. I'm pretty straightforward with this. Like it's bullshit. Oh, that's an old fitness quote from I don't know who. Like you don't need to be good to start, but you need to start to be good.
Yes, I like that. I like that very much.
It's very simple, but that basically says it all. That you need to start to get better at it, because if you're just going to wait and postpone and you will never learn swimming on YouTube. You actually need to go to water.
That's so true.
You will get wet. Yeah.
Might have to get wet.
Disclaimer. Yeah, tough shit. Another spoiler. But if you want to learn swimming, you need to get wet. You need to get into that water.
That's so true. And the thing is, I realized as with the seminars or the workshops, what I really want us to actually highlight on is what can make you sustainable, what can get you to avoid the main things: injuries, tears, or
you can get 5% better on practically any sport, just avoiding little injuries over a year.
Wow.
Around a year. Which it's a huge, because it's your 5%, your 5% you gain by just being a little bit smart about it. The thing is that, when people are chasing some results, they tend to do more than it's necessary, whether it's in a gym or on the mat. Yeah. I'm not saying do less, but the main key point is to know your body. Because if you're going to fry your nervous system, if you're going to make yourself unnecessarily tired, muscles are fine. They can take shit ton of load. Yeah. Cardiovascular system is fine. Like you can push beyond possible and you will recover fairly fast. But the nervous system, and that's also connected with breathing, because you need to breathe right to control your nervous system to a certain degree, of course. But, just a simple example, if you know how to breathe, you might get out of choke.
Yes.
Which sounds very counterintuitive, but if you know how to breathe well, it can buy you some time, you can find some angles, and you calm down.
Decisions.
You make better, exactly, because you're not racing in your brain. You're calm.
Yes.
And that comes with, try to hyperventilate and be calm in your mind. That doesn't work.
No way.
No
way.
And it also works the opposite way. When you are in a very stressed situation, just the breathing can calm it down, right?
We need to emphasize on breathing a lot, by the way.
Yeah, we will.
Yes, because it's essential.
It's critical. It's critical for everything, because that will also determine, you knowing your breathing, you knowing your body through breathing, will determine for you to know, can I still push today, or is it enough? And I rather do one less set when we talk about gym, or I do one less round. Yeah. Or I take it easy. I will go with somebody who is either less skilled, even though sometimes it doesn't work because they're just over-motivated, right? Or just with somebody who is smart. And I will tell him, look, I feel that's enough for me today. I want to move, but I don't want to go after it,
Yes.
And just take it a little bit easier. Your body will thank you for that, and you will avoid that little tingling injury.
Yes.
And it doesn't throw you off for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So by doing one less round in one training, you bought yourself 2 weeks of quality training.
Yes, it's basically what for us the hobby. George St. Pierre's coach, I think, was talking about back in the day. Talking about being able to not push yourself. Look, there is.
He got it from Pavel Tsatsouline. He's the guy who brought the kettlebells to the West from Russia.
Yeah.
Strong first. He found it strong first. I don't know if he's still leading it.
But is it like, for example, if your max is maybe 10, for example, instead of doing 10 today and then you rest tomorrow and then you do 10 the next day, basically you get, for example, within 3 days, you get 20 sets, for example. Let's say 20 sets instead of 20 reps, for example. Mm-hmm. Just to make it like, for example, you do 10 sets, for example, on Monday.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
was it
this
like
exactly that? It is exactly that. I know what you're saying.
And then instead of having,
I'll just clarify it a little bit. So let's say you can do max 10 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you do 10 push-ups today. Then this is bullshit, right?
Yeah. But it's an example.
It's an example. Bench presses, okay, or squats, okay, any movement. You can do 10 reps, okay. You're not going to do 10. Because it will smoke you off. It will smoke your central nervous system. Just the level of activation you need to, that's why push-ups is not the greatest example, yeah. But let's say heavy squats, like the activation you need to really, really do that 10 is insanely high. So it will throw you off. So you will do that on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, you can't do nothing. You can do anything. So you come on Wednesday and you do another 10, okay, another 3 days off. So in 7 or 8 days, you did 20 reps. Or you can do one set of 4 to 6 on Monday, one set of 4 to 6 on Tuesday, one set of 4 to 6 every single day. And even though you would do lesser, let's say that 4 reps, but you do it for 8 days in a row, 4 times 8, you got 1/3 more volume.
That's amazing.
And this is very important to understand for martial arts and any sport that is skill-based. Because, of course, if we're thinking about gaining strength, if you're thinking about, there are certain protocols and you need to push the nervous system so the adaptation is there and so on. But that works a little bit differently. But this is especially talking about rounds of, you can apply it to rounds of training. If you can do 10 rounds of sparrings or rolling on Monday, but it will fry you for next 2 days.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do 4, and then next day 4, next day 4, next day 4. At the end of the week, you will have 4 times 7 instead of 2 times 10.
And we do have this really bad habit, really toxic habit by so many people that I see. I don't want to create this but I see this, I see the excitement in so many people. They come in, they register. Don't get me wrong, I'll take your money. But, but the thing is, I want you to stay with it.
Yeah.
The whole point in me, we asked this question about like the academy. Why did I even set up the academy? It's because I really wanted a place that I can control 100%. And I can make sure that fundamentals, people that started with the sport, they start with it the right way, the perfect way. And I remember seeing a lot of people just letting go of the sport or backing away from the sport because there was fundamentals programs that weren't up to par, that weren't, that the coaches didn't actually show them the way that I was shown the sport. And the thing is, or some people would get super excited. They would come in. And the thing is, ever since I opened the academy in September 2020, throughout the lockdown, we were actually constructing, and that's a different podcast. That's a different podcast episode. But the thing is, I realized the whole motivation of me setting up this Jiu-Jitsu Academy here in Dubai is because I felt like we need people that actually genuinely care about the sport. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone cares about the sport. And I'm sure that everyone is in love with the sport as much as I am. But the thing is, for me, the one main thing is being able to give people a sustainable option, a sustainable growing type of journey where you can actually, because I get this excitement phase. I'm sure you've gotten those clients that come in every day, twice a day.
It's always first 1 or 2 years in anything, you are super excited. Why is it? Because everything you do is new.
Yes.
Everything you do is new. You are constantly learning. You're constantly learning brand new shit. You know? Yes. Like, yeah, of course, even black belt is learning every day. Even a person who is training even red belt or what is the highest, still can learn every day. But it's a little bit different than a white belt who will come and everything is brand new, like completely. So that's why you have that excitement. It's like first time driving a car.
Yes.
First year, you're excited for every single ride, because you got to drive and you got to go new places and so on.
Yeah.
Over time, you can like driving and you can like being in a car and doing road trips, but it's different.
The
excitement is a different type.
But don't you see those people? They
just want to go so much, so hard all the time. They overdo it.
And then they crash and quit.
And they crash, because after that 1 to 2 years, they will start to get them.
I wish they would last 2 years. They would last 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month or 2 months. And I've had so many of those stories of people signing up for like a year. Not here, but like in other places, they would sign up for a year or 6 months and then they wouldn't show up. They wouldn't show up because they got excited. They got their clothes. They got everything. They'll go to the gym. They did it a couple of times. They felt really bad in one day and or maybe a couple of days, and then, or they got they had a good streak for like a week or 2 weeks, and then they get a tiny injury. That's it. That's it. All of it it was like a house of cards that just got flicked. And all of it crumbled down.
There is a reason why there is a fundamental class, right?
Yes.
Because especially when you come, it's not nice if you don't have really that super strong vision of yourself being in a UFC or that kind of like motivation, and then you really live it and breathe it every day. Then getting your ass kicked by way more experienced people every day, it's not going to keep you here.
Yes, exactly.
It can be very demotivating. And that's also why very smart higher belts are extremely important but that's specific to
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
But then for us, for example, we'll have our fundamentals guys. We've had our friend Watson, for example. Watson was, when he was a white belt, we always, I wanted to make sure, one thing I was worried about Watson is that I didn't want him to be too excited that he quits. And that's the thing. I would anyone. Whenever I see someone that gets excited, I welcome it. It's always nice. I feed off that energy. But I want to make sure. Oh, look, are you used to this intensity? Have you been doing this? Are you usually for example, if you show up in the morning and at night, and I'm gonna see, okay. Paulo, is this your lifestyle? Is this how you are? Maybe you operate at a different level. Okay, great. I love it. But if you weren't working out and you start coming up in 6 a.m. and, for example, 7 p.m. every day, and maybe 12 p.m. also doing 3 classes a day, amazing. I've had people that came in, college students that came in last summer, that would do 3 classes a day. Amazing. But I remember, it took maybe a month or 2 months, and then poof. Disappeared. Why? What's the reason? I realized they burned themselves out. The thing is, you need to keep this. If you're going to add something into your lifestyle, you're going to add a new journey. I always tell everyone, for example, you've got your family in one lane. You've got your work in another lane. And then you've got your health. But in my opinion, because in terms of jiu-jitsu, for example, you've got this new journey of jiu-jitsu in this new lane. And no matter what's going on here, this always progresses. Like you've got your work, your family, your friends, everyone, your loved ones, and you have your jiu-jitsu journey or your fitness journey or whatever, your health journey. And that journey needs to be in a constant state of progression. Of course, everything. Like for me also...
It might be even in a regression, but it should moving. Because, of course, you will have ups and downs.
Yes.
But exactly what you're saying, people need to realize that even though I don't agree with less is more, because less is less and more is more.
Yes, exactly.
But sometimes doing less over time contributes to better results. Like you're not going to get that blue belt, purple belt, or black belt earlier just because you are overworking yourself, because especially the belt is expression of your skill.
Yes.
Right? And attitude and all the other aspects, of course. But it's mainly the skill, right? And you doing too much will diminish your ability to learn.
That's the thing.
If you are coming way too much and way too often and you train tired, you're not going to learn anyway.
Exactly.
Sometimes 3 times a week will progress you faster in a learning perspective than 3 times a day.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. Yes, because you're overtraining your brain. You're not thinking straight. You're not actually progressing. And the thing is, the ups and downs are normal. Like it's basically kind of like you're seeing a graph here, and you're seeing it like in a constant slow progression where it always goes. That's the goal. You want to always have an arch going up. And then the moment you zoom in, don't expect it to be a straight line. It's going to be like that.
It's not linear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's the same thing when it comes to your jiu-jitsu journey or your martial arts journey or your CrossFit journey. It's constantly, you want to constantly grow that. And the thing is, what we want to be able to is maybe guide the way all we can do is just show the way, and then you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink.
Yeah, show the doors.
Yes.
Yeah, like show the doors, show the options, show that maybe working on the breathing is very important, right? For me, that's a no-brainer.
Yes, of course, I agree with you too.
Yeah, then working on mobility the right way, and especially when through mobility work or whatever we can call it mobility, but for me, it's just anything you do on top of the training in the mat or on the mat, right?
Yes.
That's your compensation exercises. That's your body awareness building.
Yes.
How to activate which muscles you want to use when you're doing this and this movement. Strengthening the neck. Yeah.
We were talking about that yesterday. Yeah. Yes.
Often very neglected. Then nutrition, of course, the whole thing. Working on prevention on injuries on the critical parts, which is, of course, wrists, elbows, shoulders, all joints, basically. Yeah, exactly. When you look at thoracic spine, yeah, exactly. Not to have nodes all over across your spine and locked neck, because that can be very easily prevented if you do the right things outside of the mat, and it doesn't need to be 1 hour a day.
Yes.
It just needs to be deliberate, focused work. And that's what we want to show people what to do, get them to try it, see the benefits for themselves, and then maybe even implement it eventually as a weekly thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As a class where we all work specifically for this purpose of sustainability.
Exactly. And the thing is, this is why, like, for example, going back to what I was saying, I was always 7 years in. 7 years of no fitness, just jiu-jitsu, just because I loved jiu-jitsu. And then after I started losing my weight, I remember seeing, like I said, the cycling studios, the extra, like sometimes I would do the berries workout, the treadmills, and I had my reasons, but the thing is,
the girls, obviously.
No. Support workouts. Anyways, but the thing is, these are, in all honesty, even though whatever my reasons were, but they actually supported it in a direct, supported my sport, my main sport, jiu-jitsu, in a direct way. And then I realized actually, yes, I trained jiu-jitsu and that improved my body in a certain way. But then I did these cross disciplines. Like I used to have that family Friday workout in Ras Al Khaimah at Vogue Fitness in this CrossFit place in the Grove Village in the mall in Ras Al Khaimah. And I would get I called it Family Friday workouts because I had my cousins training there. So because I remember, like I told them, if you guys are willing to come in at 9 a.m., I promise, wallah, I'm going to drive all the way from Dubai to Ras Al Khaimah to work out with you guys, and we'll get breakfast right after. Let's do that. And the thing is, it became a social thing more than a fitness thing. And it was just, and then it became, it's just adding these support sports, like to support your main sport. I don't know.
Yeah,
Call it what you want. But
it's a very, very big point here is that it's not supposed to create a whole new discipline. You need to pay 100% attention to. It's not like adding another sport. It's doing it so efficient because you have only so limited time and also willpower, right? And effort you can put there. So if you're going to spend some time working on accessory work towards your mat time, you should dial it in to a absolute perfection or close to perfection, so you don't waste the time. Exactly. So everything you do has its intent. Yeah?
Yes. And the thing is, I realized, Paulo, my genuine goal is not just to increase the amount of competitors. It's always great to increase the amount of competitors and have my number one thing I really want to see, genuinely, is seeing an Emirati actually winning the ADCC championship. That is my goal. I just want to see it.
Well, you can do it.
Inshallah, you never know. But the thing is, it's the one thing. It's always nice to see, like, if there are competitors that are getting there, that are actually, making all of us proud. Especially a couple of guys that came in over here a few months ago, Zayed and Muhammad. These guys, I think they were 19, 20 years old. They're super young, mashallah. And the thing is, those two won in the Asian Games. I might be mistaking this, but they won. They all medaled. I think Muhammad got a gold medal, and Zayed also got a gold medal in their respective weight classes. And the thing is, that's amazing. I'm always super proud of them. They used to come in and train with us. They pop in a few times. That always makes all of us proud that we're in any way part of their journey, of course. But the thing is, the one thing, in my opinion, Paulo, the very important thing is that the average Joe or the average Abdullah here, just like comparing, right?
Rashid.
Or Rashid is the most common name. The average Rashid is, I want to elevate the average fitness level of that person.
Yeah, it doesn't mean pushing them to competition.
Yes.
It just means for everybody to have a solid baseline.
Yes.
To maximize the potential in the gym, whether it's for health, fun, like I have like zero ambition in competing in any sport.
But you look like you're about to compete, right?
Well, no, I don't know in what, but
but if you do,
you know what I mean. Like, but I love to move, obviously. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't need to have a competitive ambition to have certain standard level you want to reach for yourself.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm the ultimate hobbyist. Even though I competed a few times, I'm the ultimate hobbyist.
You should name some league after this. The ultimate hobbyist, the main UFC competing.
The hobbyist competitions. Yeah, I love it. Wait for it. But the thing is, that is the thing. We need to be able to elevate the average level of that hobbyist. I mean, even though you're a hobbyist, you can actually reach levels to basically what you would look like walking around as an athletic competitor in a world-class level. It's not that unattainable. If you're training 3 times a week is not that crazy. And if you do that, you've got 7 days a week. You've got 2 weekends, 2 days a week. In Sharjah, they've got 3. So, and the thing is, you've got three weekends and 4 weekdays. You've got a good amount of time. You can actually work out once in the beginning of the week, once by the end of the weekdays, and then 2 times on the weekends. That's 4 times a week. Depends on you. Depends on how you can do it. But the thing is, as an average person, you can reach levels that you never thought they could be possible. I mean, all I'm saying is that it takes one step at a time. Not to be intimidated and not to actually be your own worst enemy.
And that's what we want to create here. That
Inshallah.
we will show that steps.
Yes.
That one, 2 tiny steps at a time, that you're going to implement little things that makes the huge difference, right? Because that's the definition of efficiency.
Yes.
Doing the least possible work for the maximum possible result. And it's not being lazy, it's being smart.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
because while I would bust my ass for 90-minute workout, where I know that if I put hard effort in, I'm done in 15 and I don't want to come for the next day. And then again, and then again, right?
I was training three times a day, Paulo, and I was still fat.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's just
right?
point of diminishing returns. It's just, and the thing is, and I really think it's not going to just suit the people that are not originally fit or have no fitness background. I think it's going to suit most people that already are working out. Also, the people that are not, and I think everyone can benefit, whether it's in our sport or cross disciplines. I truly believe that everyone can benefit from this.
Well, everybody can benefit because the only thing you need for kind of to attend and benefit from is to have a body. Yeah, literally, because it will be only unlocking certain doors that you didn't know are even there, possibly, and showing what's behind them and how you can use your body, how you can use certain movements and certain approaches for breathing, how to look at your own body and how to use it to really fine-tune it. You know?
I love it.
So it doesn't really matter if if you close to competing the national championship or whatever,
Asian Games or one of those World Championships.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Or you are a white belt who just wants to learn better. The only thing it's going to give you is give you tool to accelerate your growth within whatever you want, within whatever physical and also mental. Yeah, because for example, the breathing, insane impact on your mood regulation. It's crazy. Timea, she left. This is not. She had to go, but this is not talking behind her back. She's very aware of it.
She's gonna watch it before posting it.
Yeah, she had a couple of bad experiences in past regarding car accidents. Mm-hmm. She also had a motorbike accident, and like she was very afraid to start driving in Dubai when she came here. Even driving at home wasn't the greatest, but driving in Dubai, it's completely different level. Wow. Yeah, and she was close to, if not a couple of times, directly into a panic attack while driving, just because of weird, circumstances, situation, sure. People honking. You have 6 lanes, trucks coming from all sides. Yeah, so it's crazy. Yeah, she started to do certain breathing exercises every morning, just for 10 to 15 minutes. It went away.
Amazing.
All went away. If she is getting a feel that something might be coming, she will just do the breathing as she's going, and she will control her state of mind through breathing.
Wow.
And it's simple.
And there's a lot of people.
But you need to dive into it and explore, Yes. You just need to do it. As a side effect, pretty good side effect for a fitness person, she was able to hold her breath up to 4 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it's impressive, but in this kind of community of people who are really pushing these breathing exercises, and it's not even a lot. Like I can go up to 7 and 8.
Oh wow!
And that's normal people with 9 to 5 jobs. It's not professional athletes. It's just people who pay attention to their breathing and learn how to manipulate it.
Man, there is a lot of this talk about, and we talked about this in general. Like, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of we hear so much stories about people that are suffering with anxiety, people that are suffering with panic attacks, with whatever the reasons are. With so many different variations when it comes to mental troubles, and being able to have a solution instead of a pill, because there is, like, when it comes to, like, again, going back to shortcuts, there are people that are going for shortcuts in many different ways, whether it's fitness, whether it's what was it called, Anavar, or Anavar for your fitness shortcut, which is Anavar is a steroid, and very mild steroid, I think, but one of them. But the thing is,
you know way too much about this.
Oh, well, I have bad friends, but
it's only the friends,
the bad influences. But the thing is, for example, you have Anavar is a physical shortcut, of basically a fitness shortcut. A fat loss pill would be a weight loss shortcut. An anxiety pill, maybe a Xanax or whatever it is that are out there now, is another shortcut.
I have a client of mine who has very serious mental condition he used to have, and he decided to go off the pills, and he went off the pills. And I mean, I don't want to go too much into details because that's a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And I know how much he would be happy to share into depth about this. But basically, we are able to regulate
Ourselves
through training and through breathing to a certain degree.
Amazing.
Without being on the pills. But it takes the decision to make, right?
Yes.
He was just sick of the fact that he got mood stabilizers and antidepressants. So basically, from having an insane amplitude of being too high on the spectrum of activity, brain activity, to dipping too deep into depression and just having the amplitude too much, it was zeroed. So he wasn't feeling bad, but he also never was feeling good. It was like basically cutting off all the emotional spectrum.
Interesting.
Because he's
scary.
Yeah, it's fucked up, right? But that's what the pills do.
Yeah.
That's what the pills do. But
they're not for free. It meant they cost, like, yes, they give you this, but they cost you something. There's always
of course,
a cost.
Of course. And the hard part is that there is not really a known, efficient, and proven way to get out of them.
For sure. For
longer term, right? And until like what he did, he was like, fuck it all, done.
Amazing. I'm always glad to hear these stories of people like this, but
well, you have a couple of people around you.
I do, but the thing is, it's. I realized being able to actually solve these issues by yourself, having tools. Like, for example, I remember the best thing, this physiotherapist that came to me one time. He was like, obviously, a physiotherapist works on your body and works on your knots, but the thing is, the same thing I wish people would have is someone that would help you help yourself. Like, for example, like I remember this physiotherapist, I used to always have this, like, my shoulder would just feel like it's balled up because I'm always like arching inwards. And my muscles would literally come in and shift into my shoulder, and it would just, even going back to pummeling, we would be just doing pummeling, and my hand, it feels like I've been doing shoulder presses for like maybe an hour, and it's so sore that I can't even lift my hand like this. I can't. It hurts so much. It feels like I've been just shoulder pressing for like an hour. And then just from doing this. So anyways, he helped me, gave me like a couple of exercises. Same thing. A couple of exercises, just to grab onto this band, blah, blah, breathe in and out, and like, just stretch it out in this certain way and all that kind of stuff. Amazing. Ever since then, I've never been to any physiotherapist about this specific thing. This thing, I know exactly what to do with. He gave me two exercises. If the first one doesn't work out, the second one will kill it.
Well, this is what also people should understand with all professional help, whether it's doctor, physio, coach. Yeah, these people always can give you the tools, but they can't do it for you.
Exactly.
I mean, unless it's really that they will cut half of your stomach, and but that's not treatment.
Yes.
That's a quick fix.
Yes.
That's not actual treatment. Actual treatment, you can always recognize if it's going to work long term or not. If it's going to work long term, it means that it requires you to do something.
Yes.
If it doesn't require to do anything, whether it's a plastic surgery or this, then it's not going to work for long term and efficiently, because it's only masking a problem or a quick fix.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's being able to let go. Like, look, we said we'll not get into addictions or a lot of mental issues. But the thing is, I think it's essential to be able to talk about one main concept, is that you can always get some help, whether it's a mental help that maybe some breathing can help you out with, or basically, how can I put it? Basically, there's a saying, you don't find a lot of depressed people that have good rich lifestyles with routines and good connections with friends and family. It's very rare to find those with all three of those things. But what I'm saying is that I'm not undermining depression or mental illness in any way, not even like, for example, addiction even. But the thing is, having tools that can potentially be able to actually fortify your mental state and your physical state against these bad times, because you're always gonna have bad times. How are you gonna handle them?
Can you repeat the three things what you said?
Oh shoot, I suck at this. I was in the zone. But I'm saying is that the fortifying yourself mentally, psychologically, mentally, physically, and
relationships,
and your
socially,
and socially.
Yeah. So when you think about that, and also linked to
about depression, yes, about having someone with routines, with healthy relationships,
yes,
and a good physical standing.
So routines,
relationships, healthy relationships with friends and family, and what was I saying?
Routines
and
physical.
Yes,
physical
and fortifying yourself physically.
When you think about all these, right? It's your environment.
Yes.
That's what we were talking about before we started recording. It's
yes.
the environment that surrounds you that will create your... This is what I believe. I'm repeating this almost every episode.
That's all good.
Your identity is created by your behavior, and your behavior is triggered by your environment.
Amazing.
So it's environment, then behavior, and then identity.
I like that.
So, but you always need to start with the environment, and that's not only environment, physical environment, but the social environment in meaning of relationships, quality of relationships, which is, there is a whole another topic we can open where there was I believe it was study that was done on Harvard, where they were for over 5-6 decades, they were tracking people's quality of life. And they found out that they were doing like extremely deep scanning on a couple of thousand people sample. And they found out that the only thing that people were actually saying was the only unifying thing for people who were claiming they have a happy life versus the people who were not having happy life was quality of relationships. So people who had the highest quality of relationship when they were 50 years old, they were the happiest when they were 80 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, the environment you are in, everything you know, or whether it's also chemical environment, right? Like if you're in some super fucked up nuclear radioactive,
Chernobyl or something.
Yeah, like that's going to influence you as well. Quality of the air, right?
That's so true.
Quality of the time you spend. Are you spending time on the sun?
Yes.
You know?
Oh, yes.
How come that Dubai has highest vitamin D deficiency, especially after summer? Because everybody's hiding, you know. Everybody's hiding from the sun.
It's so true.
I'm not saying go out and burn, but go out and expose your skin a little bit, and you don't need to take the supplements.
Take off your sunglasses. Take off your sunglasses. Get out in the sun. Get the sun to hit you a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
Yeah,
you need that.
And if it's too much to do it when 3 p.m. I mean, yeah, that can be too much. Then do it when, on the sunset or sunrise.
Exactly.
You know?
And
stand on the sunrise for 10 minutes and connect a little bit.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's always, and I feel like it's always again, it goes back to fortifying yourself, educating yourself about your mental state, about your, like, for example, what's amazing about Timia, what she did is that she identified an issue. She looked at what can I do about it, and she worked on it, gave it a shot.
And it took years, to be fair. Oh. Yeah, because the accidents did happen when she was in her teens, you know? So it took a long time. And sometimes it was better, sometimes it was worse, sometimes she had this, like, you know, because there was a situation where there was like a near crash. I mean, everybody's experiencing it, especially in Dubai, you know, like just some asshole crossing in front of you in a Nissan Patrol.
I drive a Nissan Patrol, by the way.
Oh, do you? I didn't say it
Act like as if it wasn't made for me.
But it's the Nissan Patrols who are usually doing this. Or just
so true,
huge GMCs, right? And that will just, you know, cause a shock. But then, like, the thing is that you never, and that coming back to environment is not only what is physically surrounding you, because you will not get away from stress.
No way.
The stress will always be here. But how you respond to it is what matters. How you will respond, not react. Reaction is only coming after it's already there, right? Yes. Response is calculated. Response is when you actually know what you're going to do if something like this happens. Timia knows if something like this happens, I'll focus on my breathing and I'll calm myself down, because she was practicing it every morning, practicing it.
And you know what I like about that is that it's like adding something into your arsenal. It's like you have tools. You didn't have the tools the first time, you're freaking out, and then you start working on your breathing. And the thing is, the whole point of this is that to provide you with tools. The whole thing about the workshop is to provide you with potential tools. You might not take all of the tools in tomorrow with you, like when the day comes in with you home. But the thing is, you'll be getting a good amount. Like if you get one thing, if you actually just decide that you'll do an intermittent fasting just one day. Like it's for me, it was just one episode. And that was me staying at home, you know, just driving from one site visit to site visit, inspecting construction sites. And the thing is, it was just listening to one specific guy, Dr. Berg. And I'm not 100% with every single thing that he does, but one of the podcasts actually just struck a nerve. I'm like, you know what? I'll give this guy a shot. Why not? And the thing is,
you need to kind of step outside of your comfort and experiment with it.
This is what being open-minded is all about. Giving people a shot, giving people a chance. You might not believe in it at all, completely. But if you give it a shot and being open-minded and actually trying, because by the end of the day, a lot of people try this and a lot of people actually benefited from this. So you can actually be logical and think about it. Okay, I may not agree with this, but there's a lot of people actually pledging their life about this. So maybe give it a shot, you know, and fortifying yourself against life and the things that might hit you. Like there was the issue about Kevin Hart, for example, got into a car accident. And Kevin Hart, the comedian, got into a car accident, fell off a cliff. I think it was something like that.
What?
And, in a car. Yeah, in a car. And it just...
You just say it so casual.
I know. He's okay now. I mean, he's alive and well. So it's like after the fact.
Casually falling off the cliff.
But the thing is, his doctor was telling him that one of the best things that actually saved your life was having your core being super strong. And that basically having a strong back and a strong core, that minimized the potential risk of on your spine. If it was a lot of other people, that could have resulted in a completely different way.
I can tell you right now 5 to 10 stories of CrossFitters who survived because they were fit. Accidents, nasty accidents, car accidents, fell off the bike, fell off whatever it was, and they only survived, and they were told that you only survived this impact because you are as fit as you are. Which I'm not even saying how many stories there has to be from, let's say, army.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, look, I mean, the thing is, for me, I remember the funniest issue is that I remember tripping one time but like being able to, like, again, I say the word fortify in full consciousness and in full meaning of the word, because you are genuinely fortifying your body. Your body is helpless. If you're just meat and bones, you are helpless. Your body can be pushed away by anything, by a freaking bird. In all honesty, a bird can knock you down. And the thing is, if you fortify yourself and build your muscles the right way, build your mental state the right way, build your social relationships the right way, you are putting extra defenses against the events that we call bad events in life. So you can actually have these layer 1, layer 2, layer 3.
CrossFit in original level 1 course, I believe that Greg Glassman came with it. They introduced something they call sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. Basically, you just imagine there is an arch, yeah, or like a continuum from left to right. On your left, you have sickness. In the center, you have wellness, and on the right, you have fitness.
Interesting.
And you can put any body marker from blood pressure. What is the blood pressure of a sick person? What is the blood pressure of a person who is well? And what is the blood pressure of the person who is fit? And you can put squats there, okay? Can people do at least some squats? Can do some body squats? Or can people do weighted squats? And you have always this continuum, right? And now, if you are far on the right side, very fit, okay, all your body markers are, and you can put any numbers into this. It can be bone density, it can be numbers of pull-ups you can do as a sport, you can, like a performance data, how fast you can run, whatever you put onto this continuum, you can always compare to, like, okay, so sick person is probably not going to run a 20-minute 5-kilometer run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when something happens, you always move on this line, right? If you're getting fit, you're going more towards the right. But what if there is an accident or a sickness or like a solid disease that comes, like COVID, let's say,
okay,
and you are really on the right side, strongly on the right side, it will push you back and you'll be somewhere around well. But what if you are hanging somewhere between sick and well, and it will push you back? It's a setback. You're going closer to dying.
Okay, this is
and
amazing.
Then you look at actual real life data. Who are the people who were the most attacked by COVID? Because we have a huge sample there, right? It was usually obese people.
Yes.
People with other preconditions.
Yes.
And now I'm not putting shit on anybody who was born with some chronic disease and are battling it and COVID hit them hard. I mean, that is also part of it.
Yes.
However, in a majority of cases, I don't want to be hard on them, but actually I want to be,
Sometimes
what I mean?
you need to be.
Yeah, sometimes you need to be. Like, the COVID probably wouldn't hit you that hard if you're fitter.
Yeah.
And that, as stupid as it sounds, it's something what many people don't realize. Of course, there might be very fit people who had very, very bad symptoms. Yeah, I know a couple of people who were like, they were pro athletes practically, and it hit them so hard that they were on the edge of, I mean, not like on the ventilation and stuff, but they were feeling very, very bad.
It's so funny that you needed to actually justify yourself by saying that there are people that are fit that also got sick, but the vast majority of fit people.
When you look at the average, the comorbidity factor, which was how much of the other diseases or conditions you had if you died with or on COVID, it was like 2.5 or something. There are two other, on average, 2.5
so basically
other conditions.
You're literally on the sickness level.
Yeah.
And that's when COVID hit you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a no-brainer, right? When you look at it like this, like if you're already sick and you have some precondition and something very bad hits you,
of course,
it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
So you better push towards that fitness.
It's literally everything that pushes towards us. You have the reason to not be sick, to be fit. You have the reason to actually maximize your potential. The reason to sleep well at night. The reason to actually have a good reproductive life. Yeah. And, good sex life, for example. No, all of these things actually come in together because of this one thing. If you focus on your fitness level and your health goes.
I have one friend who lives in Germany, and he's on and off with training. I'm giving him like kind of distant guidance, nice. Sometimes program, and we just staying in touch practically daily. Yeah, nice. And he has a hard time. He's a big guy. He's very tall. He's also pretty big, and I can't tell how many tens, if not hundreds of kilos he already lost in his life, and then gained back and lost and gained back and lost and gained back. Yeah.
Okay.
And when he was on, he has these periods when he's like super motivated and then goes to shit and then again and back and forth. When the one thing that really worked for him, when I told him and I asked him like, look, you are at this and this age, he's around 38, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. And now you have a son.
Ooh.
Do you want to play with your grandchildren, or do you want them to be in a need to take care of you? Just look at it this way. If you have a hard time,
where it hurts.
But if you have a hard time doing it for yourself, just think about what will be in 30 or 40 years. Because if you are not doing well now and you are in 30s, 40s, it's not going to get better.
Exactly.
I don't know what, It's only probably going to get worse if you don't attack it now.
Yes.
At the same time, it's never too late.
It's never too late. That's
it's not like I am already behind. Going back to your dad, let's say.
He started getting fit. His situation was deteriorating in his 40s, in my opinion. I think, if I'm not mistaken. If I got it wrong, sorry, Dad. But I think in his 50s, though. In his 50s was the turning point. So my dad actually got fit in his 50s. In his 30s, he never cared. He never worked out at all. He barely ever did. And that's why I'm saying it's never too late. And my dad reversed, by the way. I never got to talk about one small thing. My dad was living on 12 pills. After he switched to vegan and then to carnivore, all throughout this process, he let go of all the pills with the exception of sometimes the blood pressure medication. Sometimes, if God forbid, it actually shoots off the roof a little bit sometimes, or the diabetes medication. He literally does not take that unless there are sometimes minor mistakes. But the thing is, you're talking about an occasional pill. And another, two occasional pills. So not for sure every day. And that's it. From 12 pills every day, mandatory. So
that's impressive.
So that's the thing. And
it wasn't like,
my dad.
No offense, but it wasn't in a young age or like in the prime potential, right? It was.
And the thing is, my dad isn't the most motivated guy. He wasn't. He got heart surgeries heart surgeries, and he would come back to going back to eating sweets the very next day. The very next day, my dad didn't care, you know. But then, after seeing it was one step at a time. Everyone is a process, but as long as you set it out to actually genuinely want to work on yourself, he worked on himself maybe above 55, not even 50.
I can give you 2 examples, which for me it was just like mind blow that this was happening to me, because it was like how is this possible that it's such a coincidence? But you know, it's not a coincidence. I had 2 people coming to me that they were, because of some tests they were going through to get the vaccine, COVID vaccine. They went through some tests and they were like, well, we can't give it to you because you have too high blood pressure.
Oh.
Okay. And I told them both the same thing. All right, you'll probably be pushed to blood pressure medication at this point. You know, they will give you statins. They will send you there.
That's the worst.
I don't know if it's statins or beta blockators. I don't know. Anyway, they were supposed to get the pills, right? And I told them both, look, I don't think that with your training regime and your, you know, attitude towards fitness and life in generally, you straight away need to go to need to do that. Give it 2 or 3 weeks, because like you were living like this for last couple of years. 2 weeks of experiment is not going to, you know, make a big difference. And have garlic every morning and every night, because garlic is naturally putting your blood pressure low.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, tell it to your dad.
Oh, I will.
One of them, no medication needed anymore.
Wallah.
The other one didn't even try it, and he's on medication.
That's how it is.
Yep.
That's how it is.
And you can only do so much. You can see it here, right? Because I told them practically the same thing, same reasoning, same situation. You know, they were in a need to kind of do it quick because they wanted to get the COVID vaccine quickly, and they needed to get the good measurement right before the vaccine. Right, like because they measure it if you're okay, and if they can jab you, right? So, and one of them, he's eating garlic ever since, every morning, every evening, maybe now only once a day, but he will just have, you know, piece or 2 of the garlic. And I mean, you don't need to have it raw. I wouldn't do it raw on an empty stomach because it's pretty aggressive, but you can find your way. You know, you can put it into chop it on a very tiny pieces, or like, you know, press it, and then do it with an olive oil, whatever.
With the olive oil.
It's very good. Yeah. And you can even have it on a sourdough bread, whatever, you know, but get that into the system.
Nice.
And one of them doesn't need the doctors told him, oh, well, okay, it's fixed. You don't need that anymore. And the other one didn't even try it. And doctors now told him, well, you know, you don't maybe have to take a full pill because that seems to be a little bit too strong, and he was getting dizzy and shit. But so they cut it into half, maybe quarter of the pill, but he is on the pill, you know. And I don't think it's necessary. Maybe it is. I don't know. But
yeah, that's true.
I would try a garlic before a pill.
Exactly.
Kind of comes to me a little bit more natural.
I think so. I think there is a natural aspect about it. But the thing is, also my dad sometimes would be like, for example, late at night, I would see him up at night in the living room. And back in the day, I remember he would fill up like a small bucket of water and warm water to dip his feet inside, just to kind of like maybe potentially bring down the blood pressure. And I looked at my dad and I was like, Dad, why don't you jump in because we have this 200 dirham portable sauna at home. And it's just basically a thermos, and a thermos that just boils the water. And there's a pipe that goes into like this, a platform that comes in basically. And there's a chair inside, and just you get
you're like sitting in it.
Yeah, and you just pop your head up. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, the steam just comes off of your head, obviously from the thing, and there's a pipe obviously inside of this, and it just keeps pumping steam. And Paolo, first of all, for me personally, like I said, fortifying ourselves. Can't wait to hear about the breathing exercise and all of the things that can maybe calm myself down. Like we all get a little bit of overthinking anxiety sometimes. And
that's the thing. We are not saying you will get rid of that. You will just know how to deal with it.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, I always used to, like, for example, when I would get this and I would get this kind of feeling, it's usually I'm overthinking about some certain issues or some certain reoccurring issues that are annoying. But the problem is I would get this feeling and I would get this. And the one thing that would always calm me down was getting into the sauna, sweat it all out because it's in my bedroom. It's right there. It's right there. It's right here.
And now I don't want to push that breathing too much, but you know that maybe not even the sauna itself, of course, have a benefits for sure. But you know, when you're in a sauna or in that environment, you change your breathing.
Yes,
because you need to focus on it.
Yes.
So it would be interesting case study on you if it's actually more the breathing or the sauna itself, right?
Interesting.
Because already as you are here now, like you will get that feeling.
Yes.
You know what I did?
Yeah.
I inhaled through my mouth into my chest. This is the best way to get panic attack. Hyperventilate like this for 2 minutes, you will get panic attack for sure. Instant panic attack. You know? It's like when the kids are fooling the COVID test, so they don't have to go to school. If you want to if you want to act like you have a panic attack, easy, 2 minutes and can actually get one. A true one. You know?
Yeah, that was what we were talking about. Those in-home COVID PCR tests.
Yeah.
Hearing about it makes me wish like I was a kid during COVID because it would have been easy. All you have to do is
anybody who you will ever hear that they studied anything significant like engineering or medicine. Hey, doctor who was graduating at 2022 and couple of years after, like, never go there.
Man, no, be careful from doctors. No. Maybe it takes them 8 years, right? Also, anytime between.
Well, it depends, yeah.
So basically, 2022 to maybe because the residency. No, residency. They're working actually. Those are the good ones. I think now
they have the experience.
They can handle. But like, I think the ones that are in college throughout the 2020 years, I think maybe in 5 years, 6 years, avoid doctors at all.
I've heard how some tests are working because I know a couple of people in that age who are studying now to be doctors, dentists, and whatever, and like it's scary.
It's really bad. And you want to hear something hilarious?
Go on.
Is that I remember coming into the academy sometimes in the morning classes, and back in the day when we used to have the 10 a.m. class, if you remember, and I would pass by the lockers, the basic cabinets that we have over there where you can put your stuff. And I heard someone talking on the phone. And I'm like passing by, checking up the class.
I know.
I'm like, what's going on here? And then I just go close towards, obviously right there, towards the bags. And I'm hearing someone talking. And I see one of the students, he's like, no, it's okay. That's just me. I'm like, what do you mean that's just you? Like, there's someone talking. Like, you see a phone talking. And it's like, not a speakerphone. It's, what's going on? And I checked the phone. Of course I would check the phone. So who would keep the phone on like this? It's a lecture. It's an actual lecture.
On the Zoom, huh?
In Zoom. While he was training here with us. And I'm like, God damn, bro. That's 2020.
I also heard many strategies how they do exams through that.
Oh yeah. They would have some they would film some everywhere. I think they would film the room, but then obviously as you film the room, I can film the room and I can just have you behind the camera as I go. Like there's no. But anyways, and the cheating and all that kind of stuff. Even now, COVID kids, they fake the in-home COVID tests with the orange juice or cola. You just put a drop of that in the orange juice and cola. And that's what I read an article.
To turn out positive.
To turn out positive, fake positive. Oh, because, I'm positive. I got an midterm, you never know. You never know. Social responsibility, But the thing is, you hear about all these tricks that happen and all of this kind of...
and again, it's shortcuts, right?
Shortcuts. Oh my God. Not addressing but what got us to this? What got us to the kids that COVID shortcuts about what made us?
I have no idea at this point. This is when people with the same setting of the brain, like jumping from topic to topic.
I told you before we started. I was like, you need to guide me.
It's good. We have everything we need.
But I think we got a good amount.
Yeah, I think it will be it. That will be it. If you have something you want to add, something.
I'm glad that it worked out perfectly. We talked about a good amount of stuff.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Solid.
I mean, all I could say is thank you for everything. Thank you for coming in and making all of this work out.
Oh, this is just the beginning of this.
Oh, man, I love it.
Seminars.
This is, oh yes. No, let alone the seminars. I mean, I'm saying the amazing setup over here that you guys set up. For the record, Tim, you actually helped out being here. So just a big thank you for you, and big thank you for the amazing podcast. I've been a big fan, long time listener, first time caller.
Thank you for being here and for sharing all this very real life, real situation, everything with your dad, with your past. Well, when I call people into podcast, I get a lot of answers like, oh, what we will talk about? Like what? I was like, don't worry about that, because everybody has very interesting story. It's just the way how you look at it and the way you approach it. That's it. But everybody has a lot to share, So thank you very much for sharing yours.
Thank you. And one last thing, I'll leave you with one last good story.
Go on.
The one thing that got me to really appreciate talking to people is to really appreciate conversations in life, whether it's on camera or off camera. It was back when I was, I think, 16 years old, my senior year in high school. I went to my cousin's husband. Her husband basically was, he was always supporting me and pushing me, motivating me into like getting into extracurricular activities, these initiatives, the Global Change Makers program. There was some stuff about kids that are my age that were applying to be part of the World Economic Forum, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, and I remember like I had to talk about, I had like a topic about a certain topic that I wanted to present and post and get my spot in this initiative. And I'm practicing this at my, at this guy's house. And he's like, this guy's like at least maybe 10, 15 years older than me. And he's always like motivating and everything. And then I meet his business partner, Japanese guy, in Ras Al Khaimah. This is random. Like you're talking about maybe 2008, 2009. And no joke, Paulo, I see a guy, I see this guy in his 50s sitting with both of his hands on his knees, sitting upright, super focused and listening to me, eyes on me, did not break eye contact, and listening to every single thing I said. And then first thing he tells me, he was like, start talking about what I wanted to talk about, blah, blah, blah. And I had a presentation set up about it, and I just presented. And the guy literally froze until I finished. Froze. Listening to me like this. Would not move. And obviously I couldn't help myself but to ask.
Of course. You had to ask.
Yeah, what made you no one gives me this type of respect. I'm a kid, I'm a 17-year-old. Who gives me this respect? No one. Even my parent, even the guy that was helping me out that wasn't, it's a kid. I always got used to being treated like a kid. And, but then he told me, he was like, look, I've learned one thing. Every single person that you meet in your life has a lesson to teach you. It all just depends on if you're willing to listen. And it's just the one thing that you just said, it just reminded me of that, and I wanted to share that. It's just because it's the one thing that just sticks with me. That's why I would always take the extra minute. Sometimes that gets not too good, but it makes me just try to appreciate every single minute I sit down with you. I'm going to try to soak up as much information as
That's
I can.
also very similar to what you do on the mat when you coach, right? Because as much as people learning from you, you're learning from them as well.
Yes.
Always.
Exactly.
Regardless of the level and experience, because it's just the perspective you're putting on it. So
Yes, and it's always, because it's a constant journey. Like I said, it's a constant journey, and I love it. And I'm glad that everybody was part of this conversation. And I told you, I think we said these types of conversations need to be recorded. Thank God we got one of them good.
finally, thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.